anyway, we've got to void it because they're not happy with what with the plans. We got the bid to the plans they gave us. They've come and taken a second look and they want to make some changes, so we have to go out for bid again.
All right. All those in support of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Then so voted.
Is that, do we have to bear the cost of the bidding process, the advertising and all that? Or
Yes.
can you simply go back to can you vote to just go back to the people who already bid and give them the new RFP? Because you have the right to waive that. I don't know what the advertising cost was last round, but it would seem a shame to incur all that cost all over again to have the same people bid on the project,
Well, we have to.
unless you vote not to.
Well, I think to be fair, we've got to advertise.
Sorry,
There
that
may be
was
some other
funny.
bidders out there.
Okay.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I think we can send the specifications to those that bid, but I think we also have to advertise so everybody has an opportunity to put a bid in.
And strangely enough, it may work to our advantage. Everybody knows what the bids were. Maybe somebody will come in cheaper.
Right.
That's the problem. But the design has changed, so we could change the bids by those individuals as well. Okay, you got anything else?
I do when we get to work session.
Yeah, that's what we talk about.
Huh?
That's what we're gonna do with the budget.
Right. I get some other when we get there.
You got some other things you wanna bring up right away?
No, in the work session.
Okay. Then,
Or I will if you'd like.
well, we got until 12:30, right? Go ahead.
About 3 weeks ago, or in early October, we received a email from the New Hampshire retirement system. And the crux of the email was that we hadn't been cashing checks in a
Most efficient way.
most efficient or quickest way. And we took care of that. By now on, they'll be direct deposited and there won't be any question about why there's a delay in cashing the check. But what disturbs me is it was sent to the commissioners, it was to our email. And within a short time, an individual showed up in our Human Resource Department with a copy of the email that had been forwarded out of the office. This is before I had even seen it, I think before
I haven't seen it.
you'd seen it. And following up, I can't attest to this, but I've been told that Representative Cordelli and Mr. Comeau also had a copy of it. And I think that when it becomes county business and commissioner's business and it gets forwarded out of the office before anybody has a chance to see it, I think we got a problem. I can tell you unequivocally, I didn't forward it. Did you forward it?
I didn't forward it.
Did you forward it, Commissioner?
I didn't see that until actually this morning.
Forwarded to who?
Pardon me?
Forwarded to who?
For what?
The retirement letter?
The retirement letter?
To who is it forwarded?
What are you asking?
You said it is forwarded, right?
It
To
was
who?
forwarded out of the office.
Yeah, but to who?
To whom? I don't know, except that Ed had a copy of it, I'm told, and Mr. Cordelli had a copy of it, and another individual came into the Human Resource Office with an exact copy of it. Did you forward it?
I don't know. I have to see it. Do you have that letter?
Yes, it's right here. Did you forward it?
Oops, sorry.
I printed sometimes stuff if it is public information, not if there are
What did you
issues.
say?
She
I
said-
say I print sometimes stuff if it is public information.
I'm asking you if you forwarded that. Is it a yes or no?
I'm not sure. That's why I said I have to see it. That's why I said who do I forward it to? If
I
you
don't know. I'm just asking you whether you forwarded it. I didn't and David didn't. Who did?
I'm not sure. Is this,
Well, you suppose Cheryl did it?
is it confidential information? I don't
No,
see
that-
anything is confidential
That is the
information.
problem.
It
The
doesn't
problem
matter.
was the commissioners, and before we could come to this meeting and have a discussion, someone sent it out of the office to the public.
But it is already October 7th, right?
That's right.
So
That's right.
how do you have no chance to see it? We
Because
are
I
in
just got it
November.
about a week ago. And it isn't when I had a chance to see it, it's how someone 3 or 4 days later walked into the Human Resource Office with a copy of that. I didn't send
Who
it out.
walked in
David
the
did.
human resource?
Doesn't
office
make any
with a copy?
difference.
Doesn't matter.
It makes a difference.
Well, let me tell you something, Commissioner. You sent it out. And before your nose grows any longer, you check with the server and it says on it that you're the one that sent it out. Why can't we be included as a board here to talk about this stuff before you go and send it out to people?
It's public information, yes. It's not
Nobody
confidential.
questions that, but we're a board. Don't you think we should get an opportunity to talk to it before you
It was
go
addressed-
send it out?
You are every day here. Don't you read the emails?
It's got nothing to do with whether I'm here. Why did you send it out? It's commissioner email. It isn't a public document. It goes to the public, there's nothing wrong with it.
It comes to the commissioners. If it is anything, I can share it. If it's
Can't
public
wait for you.
information,
Okay,
I can share
alright.
it with anyone.
All right, the point is made that when it comes to the commissioners, it ought to be brought, or at least each commissioner ought to have a copy of it. I didn't see a copy of that until this morning,
It is
actually.
October 7th.
I know
How
it.
didn't you see a copy?
I know
You need
it.
to read your emails. If it is public information, taxpayers have question now, whatever, are they asking something, I can share it with
I have
them.
no
It's
problems.
public information.
I have no
So,
problems with the
yeah, but
public.
why are you making a big to-do?
Because it came to the commissioner's email
And
before.
so what? You're every day here, it's public
Okay, all right.
information.
Before we had
If
a
somebody has
All right.
questions,
We're gonna break for,
and we know what a mess the financial
break
is,
for
and they
lunch.
have a question,
be back
I
here
can
at
answer
quarter
them,
to
right?
1, and continue on
And-
with the
and
work
got a
session.
question.
You want to make something out of nothing. Everything
All right,
is, it's
okay.
a big to-do.
Enough. Go ahead,
Can I
Ed.
make a very
Last.
short public comment, or is this, are we out of that segment?
Go ahead, Ed.
It's in reference to the Grant Review Committee.
Yeah.
We've been reviewing the grant which pertains to Sheriff Dispatch and the
Right.
Homeland Security Grant.
Yep.
I had sent that grant across the country, and I'm still receiving questions, or questions that I should be asking back, because apparently this Homeland Security grant is something that many counties are getting involved in. So there's been many questions. And I just wanted to ask in public, did you ever get a propagation study? And has there been ever been a meeting between the emergency people in the area to find out what their needs are before the grant is being applied for? Many people are telling me that before this grant even goes to Homeland Security, there should have been a study like that done, that as commissioners, you should know the details of what the area needs, the region needs, before that is sent out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just wondering if there has been a propagation study which would show what systems needed with the terrain, and that could be coordinated, because there was some worry that you might be, quote, throwing good money after bad, because if you really are you asking for a grant and we don't really know what we need, it just seems that there's a lot of information that we're not getting before the application even got processed. So the original question was there a propagation study, and were you involved in this somehow so you can make a decision about this grant?
No.
We weren't involved. If
No.
there was one, we weren't.
Ed, I think from where I'm coming from, we have elected officials and we have department heads that report to us. We chose those department heads, and we have to give them flexibility, and we have to depend on them to be trusted, to be fair, and to apply for grants that become available. We can't look at all of this stuff. Now, that came in from the sheriff's department. I'm assuming that he has seen what other counties have done and has showed what they did to satisfy their public or their police departments and whatever in communications. And I'm assuming that that has been done with our sheriff. And that's, other board members can make comments on that, but I have I have to rely on people that we hire, especially elected people. I mean, yes, we're responsible for the total budget, but I think we have to rely on their guidelines, and that they bring them before us and explain as much detail as they can to us so that we have some knowledge as to how to go about proving such a grant.
I don't want to pass the buck, but I think that it's a valid question, but I think it better asked to the sheriff. I mean, we're ultimately responsible for what happens with this grant, but he's the one doing all the work on it. He's the one that's going to have a propagation meeting or whatever they're going to do with it, and I think you'd be better off asking him, because I know we weren't involved in any.
Go ahead.
Who has the legal final authority to sign
We do.
contracts obliging or binding the citizens of this county to an expenditure?
We do.
We do.
Is it the commissioners or the delegation? Who's the contract? Who binds? who
We
has
sign the contracts, the delegation approves of the money.
Right.
If it's a matching grant, it has to be in the budget, and they have to approve it first before we can receive the grant.
My 14 years on the delegation, Ed, I don't ever remember having to approve a grant. Yeah, for instance, the witness, help me,
Victim witness.
victim witness, yeah, we okay in the budget, but we don't sign the contract per se. We sign it here. So I don't know of any time when the delegation has signed a contract.
So to answer your
Go ahead.
question, you said people had more questions. I really think you can forward those questions to the sheriff. And maybe if you can send a copy to me so I can see what questions they have about the grants. I think he would be able to answer questions from the grants.
Go ahead, Ed.
The other grant that recently was signed by you, which happens every year around April, would be the highway safety grant, which has the sobriety checkpoint
Right.
money
That wasn't
in
done
there.
this year, I don't believe.
You applied for it, but I believe some towns did not receive the money for some reason. I don't know what that was.
Okay.
My concern is that departments come to you with contracts that you are binding us to,
Mhm.
and I don't believe, to be fair, that you are given the information you need to make the decision. That if there was a propagation study, that information should be vetted somehow and parsed down. It should be explained to you so you know, because you are really signing that agreement. We already found there were things in there that we had questions about that we
Mhm.
really didn't get answers for, but the application is still proceeding forward. For instance, that there's 3 phases of that project. If the federal money runs out during the second phase, it says in that agreement that money gets cut off.
Mhm.
Now, if we have already purchased equipment, we are going to be forced as taxpayers to continue to pay for that. That should be explained to you. I don't think it's that difficult to have a package and a presentation, a complete presentation for the public and the elected officials, so they understand what they're signing. That's what the concern of and
Mhm.
is, and that's the reason for the grant review committee, is to give you the information you need. It's not to work against anyone or shirk anybody's responsibilities. It's to get you the information you need, and I don't believe that's happening.
I think one of the things that could happen, Ed, to make it work a little better, is the grant committee could give us some kind of report on, it's nice that you're here every week, but you're not gonna be here in the future. Your camera will be, but you will, and I'm sure you'll be down in Concord. But we should have something that comes back that alerts us to the questions. I mean, I'm not a genius by any means, and we don't know everything. And if you see something that needs, like the propagation meeting or whatever it is, that ought to be pointed out so that we can ask the questions. If the grant review, I think the grant review committee ought to meet with the person that's basically taking the grant. We're just approving it, and say, okay, hey, Mr. Sheriff, we want this, this, and this, and this. before we're gonna give our approval. And if we don't give the approval, we're gonna tell the commissioners that we don't approve it.
Mr. Chairman, you, as a board, have not officially started a grant review committee. This was an ad hoc, voluntary citizen board.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps the solution might be, at this point, to begin an official. So if I'm not here, you could still have one, and they could be tasked with looking through that and working with the department so the grants and the grant information comes to you complete, so you can make better decisions.
Regarding, we had a public hearing, right, on those grants.
Yes.
And the public hearing invited, it was advertised, anybody could have come, but nobody did. You were the only one as the chairman, I guess, of the grant committee. So we did go out to the public, maybe not enough, but we were looking for input from the public regarding that grant. That's why we held that public hearing. That was a requirement that we have that. Go ahead.
That public hearing was held at 8:30 in the morning on a Wednesday, which was a good start. A lot of questions were asked, and that process of that application already has started to go ahead without those questions being asked. That hearing proved that you're not being given all the information you need to make the decision.
Mm-hmm.
That information should have been given to you even before the application was done. And after we exposed that there was a data collection, information request in an open-ended agreement in the contract,
Yep.
the application was still allowed to go through. So I believe we need some type of an oversight for the grant at this point,
Mhm.
all grants, because there's so much that we don't know. So the public hearing was good, but what it did is it showed that more information is needed before we keep accepting grants.
Mhm.
And it seems to be accelerating throughout the
Okay.
state, from federal grants to private grants. As our budgets seem to shrink, the grants seem to flow in, and there's nothing protecting us from that.
Yeah.
Our system is for what exists, not grants coming in from the federal government and whoever else.
I think, Ed, at the public hearing, the sheriff did say that the money is coming in phases, like 3 phases, as I recall. If the federal government cuts off phase 2 and 3, we have phase 1 that will still work
We paid for it.
and paid for. I don't know if it's dependent. What I gathered from the sheriff, it wasn't depending on the second or the third phase to put something into operation. So I'd have to refer to him about that.
I think he clearly said, I think I asked the question that, are they gonna send us all this equipment and we're gonna make 3 installments? And he said, no, we're gonna buy what we need and pay for it, and then phase 2 will be the same thing in phase 3.
Yeah.
It wasn't a question of us going into hock because the federal government may cancel the grant. We were gonna pay for
Okay.
what we got.
It is my understanding that he applied for this grant before, but he didn't get it, so
That's
he's
right.
doing it now in phases.
They applied for it a year ago, and I guess the feds only had so much money, and other counties were able to get it, and we didn't.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
Ed?
Mhm.
Thank you.
I do recall the sheriff stating that each phase was independent of the
Yeah.
others.
Mm-hmm.
But the first phase highlights, again, the need for a capital improvement and planning system, because 15 years ago, the equipment was purchased. Now it's obsolete.
Yep.
They can't find the parts.
Yep.
One day it's going to break down.
Yep.
And there's no plan in place, so now if we put away $20,000 a year for the last 15 years, we'd have the money to do it on our own, and we wouldn't be relying on federal funds to do it. And what if those funds don't come through? Does that become 16 or 17-year-old equipment? What is the plan in place to
The plan in place,
replace these expensive systems? I don't-
years ago, we asked for capital improvement money, and the delegation always turned us down. It's up to the delegation whether they appropriate the money or not. We can continue to ask.
My
If
guess
they-
is they'll turn us down this time, too.
Maybe
Well-
with a clear-cut physical plan,
Well,
that would help.
We've
That's-
had a
I mean,
couple,
I'm just holding this up because it's a bound book. I don't mean
Okay.
this book, but
but we have had, I mean, Will came in with a very, very good program.
an
and
overall
They
county,
didn't fund it.
Yeah.
That's the
1 year,
last
3 year,
one.
5 year, 10-year, in a bound, in an accepted, voted on.
different
approved
department
document.
heads are putting together an inventory, and also nursing home has already put in a request, I think that's out 5 years, for different equipment. Go ahead, Ed.
A town has to have a CIP by law. Does the county have to have a CIP by law?
No,
I don't think
The
so.
towns have to have a master plan.
we just
A
received this.
capital improvement plan can be a component of that. If they have a planning board and a master plan, it allows them to have a CIP. They're not required to have a CIP. They're required to have a master plan.
That's absolutely correct. You don't have to have a CIP. It's very beneficial, but Wakefield, I've been on the committee, and sometimes we have one and sometimes we don't. And it's nice to have one because we go out 5 years, but the current planning board isn't pushing it, and it died on the vine again.
But there is no requirement for the
No,
county to
there
have
is
one.
not.
Ed, we
Either
get,
one.
Ed, we get this copy, if you come down to the office, I'll take a photocopy of it for you. Municipal Association of New Hampshire Town and City, best planning tool you aren't using, capital improvement plans, and it's how to go about it, and it's very good reading.
An
I
excellent,
have that.
excellent,
You have that one?
Yeah.
On our
it's
website.
an excellent tool, just not being used.
Well,
So
you're
maybe
gonna
when
be on
you-
the delegation, you can help make the motion?
Also, to speak to Susan Wiley's comment about the delegation being more involved, of course, in that instance, I do agree with her. But perhaps at the delegation level, if you have an IT committee, then the IT person that's on the delegation would be part of that committee. So I don't know if that process has started in the past, but there could be a much better connection between the delegation and the commissioners.
I think the more involvement we can get the delegation in, the better they'll understand the situation that we're in. I agree. Anything else you want to bring up right now?
Nope, let's go eat.
All right, let's adjourn until
You mean we have
5 or 10
recess?
minutes after, 10 minutes after 1, okay?
It is 12:32.
Not adjourn, we're
It's
recessed
recessed.
until 10 minutes after 1.
It's 12:32 now. Are you going to make that? It's 12:32 now. Are you going to make that?
Make what?
One. It's 12:33 now.
Okay, I'd like to bring the Board of Commissioners meeting to order. Do we have any other thing on work session that you want to bring up? No? All right, then I would suggest we go by, starting right at scratch with the budget, and go through and say where we should change items, whether up or down. And go through it fairly quickly, but yet spend some time where we have to. So if we're looking at the commissioner's budget, commissioner's salary, 7.9, that's done by the delegation. And therefore, the other items are based on the wages of our business office. So we get down to education and conferences, it's the same. I see no reason to change that. Computer expense has been taken out.
excuse me, reading something about Representative Umberger and the accrued benefit reserve line that we want to put in. Which one do you want?
We got advertising on commissioner's budget, right there,
Okay,
right there.
at the top.
Right down to advertising, there's $100 in the budget. Some of that is used for when we put out to advertise for the annual report. That's the only thing I can think of right off the top of my head, what that's used for. Telephone, there was no change. The annual reports was increased a little by $50. Anybody got any questions regarding the commissioner's budget? With the exception, we need to put in there, let's see, where is it?
What is the computer expense that we're going to have?
That was taken out.
Oh, so it was.
Could I,
Dave, that new expense, a new equipment went from 500 to $1. Is that computer related, or what was that reduction?
No equipment.
Right above computer information technology, you went from 500 to $1 for new equipment. On page 2.
I guess she feels that it's not necessary for any new equipment.
What was it?
Yeah.
Do you remember? I don't.
May have been a computer.
Okay.
Well, they don't usually, unless they're splitting it up amongst
Now,
another department, they usually figure about $1,000 for a computer, not 500.
when you're talking IT equipment, are you including in that printers and all related stuff that's plugged into it, or just
Just computers.
just computers?
We're not talking about photocopying or telephone or,
No, but I think
about-
Dennis is referring to printers and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
And we do count that in the
Yeah.
IT.
Okay,
Yeah.
so a printer hooked up to a computer would be
Yes.
part of IT?
IT,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
can I
Yeah.
ask that the minute taker wages, the minute taker wages line, which is the second line in,
One that's too high?
You want to reduce it?
I'd like to change the name of that line to reflect what it actually is, what my job,
what
or
is
what
it?
this job title is,
Yeah.
recording secretary. So
Recording
I might have to
secretary?
abbreviate, but the job description is recording secretary.
Is that in lieu of a pay raise? Is that
I-
what you do good?
Minute taker or recording secretary, can you tell me what the difference is?
No, just the job description says recording secretary, so I think it should reflect what the job description says.
All right,
So you can.
So
done.
anyway, so the commissioners are going to spend $6,500 on a minute taker outside, and we're not letting Shadow Laurent, like all the other counties doing, taking
Not
the
at the present
minutes.
time?
We're just going to waste $6,500,
No, we're not
correct?
gonna waste it. We've
Yeah,
got a
of
good
course,
minute
we
taker.
waste it. If Shadow Laurent do it, you put it in the job description, we already have somebody taking the minutes. All the other counties are doing that. The administrative assistant from the commissioners are taking the minutes.
Make a motion that we stay with Melissa Siemens as recording secretary.
Okay, I'll second it.
There we're talking about recording secretary. I believe that we said that she was going to do also only the public minutes, and she's doing non-public now. Is that
She
correct?
signed an agreement so that she can do non-public
And then,
minutes.
I don't care about agreement. And then she's going to back to...
I know you don't.
And then she's going back to work for the paper and write everything there?
What?
What are
Correct?
you talking about?
I'm not going back to.
Let's not, let's
Anyway,
not,
Jeez.
it's not about me, it's about the position.
That's
Yeah.
So the other point to that position,
But I
not
thought...
talking personalities here, the other point to that position is the current job description states that the recording secretary will also do the non-public meetings.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
if that
Something
needs
has
to
to be
change, then
corrected.
the job description will.
We
need to
waited
change.
for you to sign the agreement,
Okay.
confidentiality agreement. So
Okay.
now you can take it.
Get a motion on the
So
floor,
you
Mr.
didn't
Chairman?
sign the
All those
confidentiality
in support
agreement,
of the
yeah?
motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All
Opposed?
opposed?
You didn't sign a confidentiality agreement, is that correct?
Commissioner Kenney, I did.
Oh, you already
Okay.
did?
Yeah.
But then Commissioner Sorensen said you have to sign the confidentiality
No, he said he waited for me to do
I
that,
waited
which
for
I
her
did,
to
and
do
then
it.
I was allowed to take non-public meeting minutes.
I think that was
But-
brought up before you got here this morning.
Yeah, but the
Commissioner.
commissioner said she was not going to do non-public minutes.
Okay, next item is,
Next
the-
item.
That is a betray to the public trust.
is the
We have-
treasurer.
Can I'm sorry,
go ahead.
Commissioner Sorensen.
Yeah.
If I could also ask a question just for clarification on the business office salary.
Yeah,
I was just wondering about budgeting procedures, because last week, the finance manager said that only a portion of her salary is
Yep.
in this line, and the
Yep.
rest of it is charged to the nursing home.
nursing home, because she does the payroll for the nursing home.
Okay.
Yep.
I was just wondering, is that, should it all be charged to one place, and then you show a revenue shift from the nursing home to the commissioner's
It was
office?
charged to the nursing home because, I'm not sure if it's true now, but we used to get more money in when the nursing home budget was higher. And I,
And increased Medicaid payments.
yeah, I can't go any further than that.
I
but-
guess, what I was wondering is if it's kind of like you do with maintenance, or like you used to do with care
Yep.
grounds, you used to
Yep.
bill each department for
Yep.
the amount of service. So I thought that the full finance manager's salary should be in this line, and then you would bill the nursing home for administrative services. It would just be number switching, they wouldn't actually write a check to you, but
Be a
it
paper
seems
shuffle.
you should have the full expense shown somewhere, and then the revenue from the interdepartmental
Mhm.
revenue
Mhm.
shift somewhere else. I don't know. And As
I'll
for
bet
accounting
that's-
practices, if that's a cleaner
Yeah,
or
I
more
bet that it's all
appropriate
in
way.
the nursing home budget under wages.
Okay,
And again, it probably gets lost there too.
okay. I
Your
don't-
point's well,
I don't
your
know.
point's
That's
taken.
an accountant question.
So do we see the salary at the two departments? We see it at the commissioners and the nursing home department, right? So half is here and half is in the other department?
I think the majority of it comes out of the nursing home, because she's responsible for the payroll, and most of the payroll is in nursing home. Ann?
And maybe billing, I'm not sure. Maybe billing as well, so I don't know. Does the business office also do the billing and as well as the payroll, or I don't know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we look at the treasurer. Okay, the salary has changed again. All elected officials got, what was it, $840 more?
I think the same as the employees.
Um, So it's $704. You see any problems with the treasurer's budget?
I'm still looking at the commissioners.
And what again is the overtime there in the business office?
It's $500.
And
That was put in there originally when we had the auditors coming in. They had to work overtime to get all the stuff ready for the auditors. And while they were
besides the
here,
auditors coming in,
that's what was
they're coming in
happening.
for years, right? But how many salary positions do we have there in the business office? We have 2 salary positions,
One,
only one.
I believe.
So we have one and the other are hourly.
I believe so.
So the overtime is going to the 2 people.
The only salary position is
Is
Kathy
Kathy
Gary's.
Gary.
Is Kathy Gary.
So the 2
The
are
others are on
hourly.
hours.
So is this overtime going to these 2 people?
Yep. Anything else? You catching up?
Yeah, what happened to Ossipee town taxes?
It went under the farm
In the nursing home.
and the nursing home.
Did it double like it should?
Yeah, right.
Why do we have to pay taxes to Ossipee? Are we
Yes.
not getting a special fee or a juice?
Well,
Got a
all our
Jewish rate?
land, our 800 plus acres of land is, most of it's in current use.
The land in current use is taxable, and the land under the buildings is not. The curtilage around the buildings
You-
is not taxable.
And also the water system is taxable because it's an enterprise income
Yeah,
producing.
that's right.
Yep.
thing.
Okay, we ready to move on?
Treasurer.
Yeah.
Who is the mysterious
Yeah.
Why is
deputy
she-
treasurer? Is that Albee?
Deputy treasurer
Apparently, I
is
believe so.
is Albee. The only time he gets it is when he performs the duty.
Ann would like to talk about the
Yes, I
Fiddler
think-
contract.
Yeah.
You had asked, you had some questions.
Ann's here, and let's deviate a little bit from the budget. Ann, come on up. This contract with Fiddler
Right,
Technologies,
right.
Oh, I don't have it.
has this been out to bid? Or is there only one firm that does the type of work?
You cannot put this out to bid. If you want a local provider, and if you want to spend a lot of money in changing your system, because if you go to another system, they have to go back and recreate your system that's already there. We get a contract, give it to us, but I don't sign it.
This one here?
I don't sign it.
So
It's done
We just pay it.
on faith, and it's, do you know what it would take? I can't even imagine what it would cost to go to another vendor.
well, I'm,
No, I'm just saying.
yeah, okay.
I asked others if they put this out to bid, they said, why would you do that? You'd be shooting yourself in the foot. It's never, ever happened. Now, what
But if you,
What we can do is the Board of Commissioners vote unanimously to accept this bid, then we have no problem.
but if you,
But the law says anything over 5,000 is supposed to go out for bid.
I understand that.
but if you never put it out to bid, you don't know what the other vendor to offer has, what the price is from the other vendor.
I guess what she's saying, though, is there's a lot of stuff that would have to be
I
changed over.
I
think-
understand, but we
I-
still don't know then the price of another vendor. We don't
Well,
know if it is
If you change
cheaper.
an existing system that we have here now, you will do nothing but create confusion for the future. If you're gonna put this out to bid every year, there's no one gonna bid on it. No one.
Well, we could put it out
The
for a number of
expense-
years. It could go a number of
You
years,
can
but
do whatever you want.
how many, all the other counties have Fiddler?
Everybody but Merrimack.
Everybody but Merrimack?
I believe
Well-
they have pioneers.
And they're all happy with them? I guess?
Everybody's been using the same system since the 70s. It's not something that happened yesterday.
Mhm.
I have never been asked about it before. I don't believe Lillian was ever asked about it because I know she never sent out for bids.
Yeah.
Um, Our use and our need is so specific that somebody would have to create I think it just is what it is. We're talking about 16 or more thousand records a year that are indexed in every which way you can think, by town, by grantors, by grantees, the type of document, the town it's in. If it's banks, we're referencing discharges, we're giving the old book and page out in the margin. To recreate that, they would have to be doing in their system, they would actually have to come in and actually redo all our indexes.
Okay. Have you met our new commissioner?
Yep.
And
Mr. Miller,
Dennis
from
Miller.
Saturday Night Live, right?
Yes, same
Okay.
one, yeah. He's got a lot of hair and a lot of money, I don't have either one.
We all thought we were getting him.
Oh.
You get fired from Monday Night Football, too.
Yes, and money,
Put
yes.
that feather in your eye.
That's correct.
Um,
All right, what can I explain to you?
Could
This
we,
summer- Let me-
Asha, are you in support of this contract or not?
Let me
I
see
mean-
that contract.
Should we go and get the vote from the commissioners to do that? It has to be unanimous. It has to be based on fact that we've had them for a number of years. They've been satisfactory. Other counties have them.
Do you want me to send out an email to my fellow registers and ask them if they put this
No,
up to bid?
I don't have to do that, Ann.
Well, I think you ought to, I think there ought to be ways that we we look at this not just in terms of here, but if I were to ask my registrars, do they put their contracts, their indexing, imaging, out for contract?
Yeah.
Because if they do, I'd be very surprised. This never gets discussed at a registrar's meeting.
All I'm saying is the law says anything over 5,000.
Well, I'll ask them how they get around the law.
Okay.
Well, get around the law by having a unanimous vote of the board that they don't need to go
Well,
out.
maybe they've done this, and that's what I'm saying. Let me ask what they've done in other
I'll make a
registries.
motion that we approve the contract with Fiddler Technologies for the Registry of Deeds. Do I hear a second?
Just,
Second, for discussion.
You want something to discuss?
How many years have we had Fiddler?
since the 70s.
Since the 70s?
Almost
Part of the
40,
70s, yeah.
40-something years.
Have they, how, they gradually go up every year?
In the 8 years I've been here, my fees have not gone up an ounce.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I've been offered more services for free, but not gone up an ounce, not a penny in that length of time. And that's the same way with my fellow registrars. I think the one place that I really would like to get information for you is Grafton, because they have the corner system, which Fiddler bought. And they were enticed to go to Fiddler has other programs because they service a lot of different registers. They went to Avid system, which doesn't look anything like our system. And it took them, I think, almost a year in preparation just to be able to have this other system. And that was at a great cost because they were maintaining two systems. There's been so much uproar over the two systems and the unfriendliness of the second system that they have been paying to keep up two systems to create uniformity with their past records. I know that it costs them a good deal of money. I don't know, but I can get those figures for you. If Kelly understands my question.
Let's vote on the motion. Hopefully it will be unanimous. All those in support of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
I oppose.
You're opposed.
Can I make another comment in regard to the corner system, now owned by Fiddler? It is an in-state. We have their office is right in Exeter. Anytime we have any repairs or any confusion that they can't fix off-site, they are here. That's all covered in the contracts. And then in the equipment part, which is not paid by taxpayers, the part that comes under the 412097, that has been self-supporting so far. We are not generating the income from that surcharge.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, and these are all positive aspects of doing business with Fiddler, but you heard the vote, and unless it's
I heard
unanimous,
what vote?
we have to go out for vote. We have to go
Oh,
out
I
for bid.
understand that, I understand that.
So,
Can I have a point of
Or-
information? Does the current contract expire? Or will they just continue doing business with you?
As I said,
Could this be brought
I have
forward
never
at a
saw-
later time in the budget cycle? Or,
well, first of all, you'd have to figure out who would be a possible vendor, and then you'd have to get prices. I don't know, I can,
okay.
We hereby submit specifications and estimates for the 2-year term beginning January 1, 2015. We can wait until the 2nd of January, or when the first meeting we have in January, and vote on this again.
will the new person already have been sworn in at that point?
Yes, I will.
Well, I'm telling you, Register of Deeds is,
What's that?
he said he will be, I'm not talking about that, I'm talking about,
I'm not sure about Lisa, but at least I'll be sworn in so I can vote on that contract.
Everyone will be sworn in, I mean, at
But you would
the
have
same
to
time.
have, you've got to put this out to bid, is that what you want me to do?
No, it's not effective until the first of the year anyway. this
vote-
contract,
We'll vote on that contract again next year,
yeah.
January.
There's this,
Okay.
I've never signed one yet.
Okay.
No problem. You got anything else you want to change your budget? We haven't got to your budget yet, but
Oh, I thought you said you had questions, other questions for me. I guess you didn't.
Only about the cost of going online.
And that is, where's the contract? I just checked before I came up here.
Are you going to have the newly elected register come in at your next meeting, though, and discuss that with you?
yeah.
Yes.
Why would you be doing that?
She's being invited to the next commissioners meeting to
We're
talk
inviting
about.
Lisa to the next
her
meeting, which will be
plan.
on a Friday.
For what purpose?
What's that?
For what purpose?
To talk with her about the budget for next year. I know it's your budget.
I came in with Lillian's budget. I don't believe anybody can act in that position until they're here, but that's my opinion.
I believe what she was going to talk about it online.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is what she's
She
going
wants
to
to
talk
talk
about.
about what?
Online,
Yes,
putting
21st of
putting it
November.
online.
right?
She's coming in.
Well, apparently people are getting preferential treatment around here. I don't know.
No,
Never
we're not.
happened to me.
And no, that's not true.
I think it is.
She campaigned on getting
She
online.
campaigned on what she campaigned on is internet only, which both Republican candidates were their only issue, at my expense, for what I've stood for and what the good work of this
Mhm.
department has
Yep.
done, and with a lot of insulting remarks in their interviews. This has nothing to do with the 21st century. This has to do with complete respect for my constituents to spend that kind of money for the benefit of a handful of people who might be using that service.
Apparently, it's not just a handful, because that's what I thought too.
And you've got
But it's
a list of all-
anybody in Carroll County
Well, give
can
them
get
all your
online
revenue. Go
and
ahead.
look at their deed or look at their records.
Who goes online? They wouldn't even know how to do it.
Anybody can.
Give me a break.
You know, when Stratton County went online, they get in the first year, they get all the money back, what they put in, and plus, I believe, was $30,000 extra revenue the
Well-
first year.
That's your interpretation of what you heard.
It's not the interpretation, it's a fact.
Yes, it is.
Okay, we're not gonna
We
argue
need to go
over
in
it.
the 21st century, and I support it, we need to go online.
I understand that.
And I would
I
hope
mean, we cannot be in here $1,500 and
I
keep
understand
that
that
away from the citizens.
that Lisa has a copy of your budget, but I would hope that you sit down with her at some point in time and talk with her about your budget and talk with her about the registry of deeds and make a smooth transition as well as you can.
Nobody taught me anything.
What's that?
Nobody taught me anything
But
about
that's-
what your job is. Somebody that's gone around and in every interview has said they know every aspect of the registry of deeds shouldn't need my advice. It is totally against my philosophy for the constituents of this county to have their information put online, to go to every country, anywhere, for whatever good purpose or bad purpose they intend to use it. Whether they're gonna create fraudulent documents, my job has always been to protect the constituents.
Mm-hmm.
And the constituents are not the people who are asking for this to be online.
You've done a good job, Ann.
That's your point of view.
Okay.
You personally
What's that?
have told her that she can put this under the equipment account, and that is not possible. And I will give you a copy of what the equipment account can be used for.
I got that information from a previous registry of deeds
Yes,
from Stratford County,
yes.
and he said he put his under the surcharge account for equipment.
It's not equipment. That is a service contract. And I've talked to my other registrars, and they are not, nobody uses it.
Nobody used it?
No.
All right, well, we'll
He's
work
got
it
away
out.
with something.
We will figure it out.
I doubt it.
Okay, thank you, Ann.
Nice meeting.
So much for a smooth turnover.
Well, when I became elected commissioner, nobody helped me did anything, right? Just came in, no orientation.
Okay, let's get back to our budget. Lisa, I'm sure will get help from
Well-
other counties.
Yeah, but we can put it in, why can we not create just another line and just add it to the register of deeds?
Let's wait until next Friday when Lisa comes in to see what kind of information that she's got from you.
David?
Yep.
I think there might be a valid point, and she's only talked to one registrar. And he may have his own agenda. I think we ought to encourage her to talk to, if 8 or 9 of them are online and we're using the same thing.
I know
We ought to get her to talk to 2 or 3 of them.
I know she talked to Belknap County. And she
Oh,
got a
she did.
figure, but she didn't tell me where the money came from. She was 28,000 is what they told her at Belknap.
Yeah, but you know what? The register of deeds, the figure, is based on how many recordings, how many documents. So the figure probably would be a little bit different in Carroll County. This may be,
True.
they record maybe more in Belknap County.
Okay,
So it's in
can we move on?
Yep, what do you want to go to?
Special fees and services,
Page, please.
county auditors, page 3.
Page 3, page 3, okay.
Page 3.
Dave, at some time when we put this together, when we have, and it's to Melissa's point, if we have a salaried position that's split between 2 or 3 departments, it'd be nice if we had a notation that it was like 1/2 or 1/3.
Okay,
Because walking in the door and I see a salary, I don't know if they're part-time, full-time, if it's half the salary, the whole salary. It'd be nice to have more notation on here so I knew what I was looking at.
I
I hate
think,
to throw a wet blanket on it for you, Dennis, but we've been over this 2 or 3 times with Representative Ticehurst wanting a column to make comments on,
Yeah.
and it's been met, well, let's just say with resistance.
Can I
By
ask-
who?
business salary is her salary, payroll expense, I'm sorry.
But isn't this our budget?
Yes, it is.
Yes,
So
it all comes off of one computer, and
But if it's our budget, can't we dictate the format?
no.
We can't?
Why not?
Well,
We
that's
can,
what
yeah.
Susan tried to get her to do 2 years ago, and they said, no, it couldn't be done. Man, Cordelli wanted made into a spreadsheet so they could change the figures.
Okay,
Both of those things were said, no, we can't do it.
okay.
Did that, so that never happened, that they never got an Excel spreadsheet of this last year?
No, because they had to take every single item and put it in every single cell in order to make it work. Now, you can't tell me that piece of equipment we got downstairs doesn't have the capability to change
Well,
things around.
Yeah,
But anyway,
payroll
it wasn't done.
I've
Okay.
already started doing it for my own benefit, and I'd be more than happy to share that.
All right,
Ooh, good.
payroll expense is her portion of the job downstairs. The rest of it is in the nursing home. So if
Yes.
we just put a little,
What
couple of
page,
words in there.
what page are you on back here?
I'm on page 1 again.
Okay,
Under payroll expense, that's her portion that comes out of
okay.
the office downstairs.
So should that say finance
So why don't we say,
manager?
what?
Should that say finance manager instead of payroll expense? Because that makes it look like it might be FICA or Medicaid or something.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, payroll expense is generally like social security. and-
What did you say? What was your suggestion, Melissa?
I just thought you could put finance manager,
Finance expense?
finance salary.
Finance salary.
And this is approximately how much of this, 1/3, I mean, what's?
We
you
don't know.
We don't know the split. Okay.
15,000?
Okay.
Looked to me like a little less than a third.
Yeah, maybe a quarter.
Okay. I'm sure in time I'll pick it all up, but when you're looking at it the first time, it's confusing.
I'm glad you're looking at it for the first time, because maybe we can straighten it out for the delegation, too. And for us, I mean, every time we have to ask different questions,
Yeah.
so the better we can refine it, the better it'd be. All right. Back to special fees and services. Are you there?
Yep. So any raises will be based on whatever the union contract is. Special fees
Well,
and other services,
I
yeah.
want to talk with that, I want to talk with everybody but Ed in non-public regarding negotiations. And we get
Okay.
to that point, then we can talk about wages.
Is that county auditor line enough to do 3 years' worth?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. You've been in
11.
contact with Bulio, and where do we stand?
We have the 2010 financial statements. We have the 2010 audit. He's now working on the 2011 financial statement, which ought to be done very quickly.
You know what the charge was for one audit, Dave?
How much?
You know what the cost was to perform it?
15, it was
15,000.
not to exceed 15,000, and strangely enough, it was 15,000.
And that's per year, right?
Yeah,
Per year?
that's for the audit. It was also the same thing for the financial statements.
It's gotta be kidding me. The 2011, he has those financial statements from John Lyford.
Yeah.
So the 2012, he was going to do the financial statements because he was waiting too long. I mean, he waited like 6 months to get a financial statement from John Lyford.
Should we hire a financial officer? One of the responsibilities of the financial officer would be an internal financial, to produce the financials. Then we go outside to an outside firm to do the auditing.
That is what every county is doing.
Well, that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah,
We
but-
didn't do that.
Yeah, but I cannot understand why the business office is not doing that, why they're not doing the financial statements, so we just hire only an auditor. I was being told we're doing only an audit, and you see that the auditor line, it said county auditors, and we're paying for that. Now we find out no audit has been done, but financial statement has been done. I still like to have the money back from John Lyford, because we paid him, right, to do the statements or audits. So we are paying double now.
Mr. Chairman, I
Doing the
suggest
same
that we
work.
get direct Commissioner Kenney to talk with John Lyford and see if she can retrieve any money.
And I like to have also all the work products, what they have from the county. Everything what he did for the county of Carroll. I can't believe that we don't have it in our position. We paid someone, a vendor, to do
Okay.
work, and we don't even have the work in our possession.
So to answer the question, do we have enough money in county auditors? $20,000.
So where are you looking now?
I don't think if, are we gonna attempt to get current up through 2013?
Yeah.
Yes.
Then we don't have enough, if we're at 15 a year, right, Dave?
What has happened is money for the auditing was carried over from
Oh.
year to year,
Encumbered?
so encumbered.
Okay,
And so I think we're close to being okay.
okay, so those funds are encumbered someplace, yeah, on the revenue
Yeah,
side.
they have actually been paid to him to do the auditing. We have signed an agreement through 2012, 10, 11, and 12, to get those financials and auditing done. Okay, 13, we wanted to wait to see how he performed before we go out for 13.
Okay.
And if we encumber the money, doesn't the board have to approve that? I mean, we've been
Yeah, we
told that
did.
audits has been done, and audits were not done financial statement. So we need to
When
prove
we
that
hired
the
this
statement.
company, that's when we
I'm
approved the
talking
money.
about the Lyford, John Lyford.
I'm not talking about Lyford.
Yeah, but still, there's something fishy going on there. So
Yes,
money
it
is,
is.
suddenly money is encumbered, right? The board needs to prove it. We need to know what
Mm-hmm.
is going on. Because we had all this time with years, audits has been done, auditors. And it was not correct, financial statements. Now we don't even have the financial statements. And you want to pay again, Beaulieu, doing the same financial statements that we already paid for, correct?
Bulio has Life's financial statements. The reason that we had
2011.
the delay was he found too many errors in it, and we had to correct them in order to make the financial statements work through. And so he was paid for correcting John Life's. Now, the same thing's gonna happen in 2011. He's probably gonna say, well, as Jack asked him the other day,
Our treasurer.
treasurer, you already have the patent here, why is it gonna be the same amount of money? I forget what Ron's answer was, except it would be not to exceed, and,
But,
Okay, is it enough in there?
yeah,
So
do you think?
even if you encumbered money, the total expense should be in this line, and then the encumbered fund should show on your revenue report. So even if, what I'm kind of noticing in some parts of the budget is, well, we actually need 50,000, but we have $30,000 in savings, so we're only gonna put 20,000 in the budget. When in fact, all 50 should be in the expenses, and then your encumbered fund should be over on the revenue report.
Okay.
Okay, so.
So I'm
I-
just wondering if that's what happened there, or if 15,000 is enough to do 3 years' worth of audits.
Okay, so I have a comment. So if
Sorry.
there are so many
forget it.
errors, in John Life's work, and we need to pay over again, so the business office cannot correct that, they have all the backup and all the paperwork, right? Why do we have to pay the whole amount over again? There are errors, the errors cannot be corrected, we have a financial director here, and she cannot correct those errors.
You have a contract already, you signed it. It's
David, I think
It's
that
all
we
moot.
budgeted and encumbered in 2012, so the only thing we have left is 2013.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
2014 will come in next year's budget.
Right.
But I
So-
don't know whether that 20,000 includes, we haven't been able to find out what an audit's gonna, what a financial statement and an audit is gonna cost us
For 2013.
for 2013, once his figures are all brought up to date, and then he just has to basically fill in the numbers and do the audit, so I can't tell you whether it's enough or not. My gut feeling is it ought to be 30.
Okay, so I have a comment. So Mrs. Siemens just mentioned that we already signed it. So what did we sign? What does you reference to?
You signed it.
We signed the audit, right?
You signed
Oh,
a
you signed both
contract
of
with
them.
Bulio. for
Bulio,
3
contract.
So
years.
which one?
Does the contract say how much it
Everything
is
but
every year?
2013.
Oh,
We
so how much is
signed,
it?
didn't we sign the audit for
Every year?
11?
That was 16 for the financial audit and 16 for the financial
So
statement.
what is
All
this?
3? Or
2.
2?
Oh, all 3 years?
Yeah, like each
They've
year
been
is
roughly
it,
the same thing, not to exceed, but as I said, mysteriously enough.
so it's
they come
16 for 3 years.
All right,
Each
let's,
year for
Don't
3
hold me
years.
to it, but
so that we can move on.
So it's not enough.
Let's leave 20,000 in.
I
think it's
I
30.
didn't sign anything.
You want to make it 30?
Didn't sign.
because we don't know whether that financial
Okay.
audit
I think
includes
it's
the
30.
financial statement or not.
Yeah,
All right.
let's put 30 in and reduce it if we,
Yeah.
but I
Okay.
say that's a 30.
Sorry to,
If we have somebody in the business office who can do the financial statement, we're saving money. Because we're paying double now. We're paying for financial statements and for audits.
Okay, we had 15, we're going to make it 30, so we're up 15,000, okay. Legal fees is in there for 20,000.
But are you still on the page 1?
I'm on page 3 right now,
Oh, okay.
looking at
Hold
special
on.
fees and services.
Well, considering what we've got coming up in lawsuits, I'm
Legal
not sure.
fees.
We've got, what, 2?
we got, I don't want to name them in front of the camera, but
September. And how much do we have? Did we overspend, right?
On the legal fees, I believe that's also union negotiations.
Everything is there?
I'm not sure. I think that under the jail, the legal fees are in the jail budget, I believe.
Does the legal
That's
fees
what it
that
said.
line item, is it also included bailing? The calling for advice that they're calling every time and asking for advice, is that in this line?
On the legal fees?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have all different things in the legal fees. So we have bailing.
Mr. Henry did say that the legal for union negotiations is in his budget,
That's what I thought.
so
So
that
every
must
dep-
be true with the nursing home and the sheriff's department as well.
So
I'd
every
like to think they
department
have some
has their
consistency.
negotiations in their legal fees budget.
Is $20,000 enough for legal fees?
No,
What do you want to make it?
30. As
Another 10?
as our new commissioner said, you can always put it in, you put it in, but then you can always take it out, but you can't put it back in again after they pass it.
Okay.
Now, Dave, is that just for the lawsuits that,
Yes.
okay, got it.
But we have, why? Because we have some laws.
Compensation study, that is out of HR, out of the matrix study.
We have some of the lawsuits are paid by Primex, right?
A compensation study of
Yes.
15,000, which was in that budget. Is that okay?
Yes, that's the one that I just read it again in the matrix book, the
Yeah.
15,000.
Are we hiring a firm to do it for us?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what they're suggesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Life safety fees,
What, and that one got me baffled. What is that?
What is that?
It's new.
Is that the stuff that Lynette talked about with the?
life safety, I think a committee meets, I think it's meeting quarterly, and maybe they need to meet monthly. Life safety meaning street lights out here in the parking lot
Oh,
at
you're talking
night.
about the safety committee.
I thought that was the
Yeah,
thing-
safety fees.
I thought that was the thing that Lynette talked about before, where the nursing home has to, like, all across the complex, you have to code and identify all the chemicals and
Well, that's
substances.
the
And there was
MS
that
form or
software that
the
you had to
MC
buy.
form that you have to
Is that-
put down
It's
all the
Okay.
hazardous materials you have and where they are in your facility
Mhm.
and whatever. That's what that was.
It's something new.
Contingency succession. All right, as your contingency is 10,000. That is for if somebody retires and it's a small department, we can't make it up like the nursing home. If they have vacancies, they have money left over so they can make it up for sick leave, vacation time that's due to them when they retire or when they leave.
Would you like to hear the email that was sent to you and I and Asha and Kathy Gary from Mr. Miller and Mark McConkey about her accrued benefits thoughts for the,
Is this for who?
she's the delegation chairman, as you probably know,
From
Deb.
Humber.
Yeah.
Is for who?
The
For
meetings
you,
are
me,
online.
Asha, Kathy Gary, Dennis, and Mark McConkey. And it's all about what she thinks on the accrued, if you'd like me to read it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have heard that there is a possibility of setting up a capital reserve fund in order to pay accrued benefits for people that leave the county, either because they quit or retire. I spoke to Lynette and understand that for non-union people, if they do not give 2 weeks' notice but just quit, they are not entitled to accrued benefits. The nursing home and the jail have in their contracts the received benefits after 10 years. I guess she missed that one. After 10 years, and the sheriff's contract is
Service.
silent on the matter, so they would presumably follow the personnel policy established by the commissioners. Kathy, would you prepare me a list of the names and dollar amounts that have been paid out this year? Accrued benefits do not fall under personal privacy, as it deals with payouts to people who have left employment for one reason or another. A second request is a list of folks who are currently receiving New Hampshire retirement medical subsidies and how much they are paying to the county each month for their share of the cost. A third request is for the number of people that currently pay to AFLAC, the commissioner's policy on this, or union policy, and how it is monitored in the business office. I will be at the county on Friday, and after our hearing, I will stop in the business office to pick up the info and discuss it with anybody who wants to be there.
Do we know what our average exposure is per employee for sick pay and vacation and the rest of them? Is it 3,000, 5,000? I mean, what's?
We have no idea.
We don't have any clue.
That's why I've been pushing to put this in here. We had, one person left the jail last year, we paid him $8,000. It wasn't budgeted. They haven't budgeted this kind of thing all along. We have no idea what it costs for the average person. The two girls downstairs each have 20 years. If they leave, they've got vacation time and sick time. You notice it isn't in our budget to pay them.
Yeah.
And it's something that ought to be in every single line item or a lump sum in our budget.
I think
Well,
it's
that's-
easier to put it in as a lump sum in our budget, but sometime over the next year, if we could get what the average exposure is per employee, and then say if we're losing 3 employees a year, then we should be putting in 28, 31, whatever the number is.
Exactly.
And shouldn't that be part of, somehow along the way, the auditing process? To show all of the,
Well, Melissa, if
the
we were.
potential,
if
The
we were-
liability.
isn't it like a Gatsby thing that you
Well,
have
if
to
we
show?
were, if we were on the accrual system, we would have to have that money accrued. But we're in the cash system.
Oh, okay.
When you're in the cash system, you don't have to do it. But
But
the
you should.
exposure is still there,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
So, the easiest way to do it is find out how many employees we have, what the average exposure is per employee, and then see how many are leaving per year, and take that number and plug it in every year. Some year you'd be ahead, some behind, but at least we got most of it covered.
So all employee vacation, sick time, it's paid through the county, right?
Well, who else
The
would pay?
county is paying it. So
Yeah.
they're not getting a settlement, it is just vacation time and sick time paid by the county.
Yeah,
Good.
and it's what's
Thank
ever due them when
Yes,
they
I know,
leave.
I
Yeah,
know, but
yeah.
I just want to have it
Yeah.
on the record.
Okay, 10,000 is not enough?
Well, if we paid 8 for one employee, I mean,
It's high.
I'd say we put 20 in there, right?
Dennis, historically, we've had pretty good luck.
Okay,
That was
Maybe
an
15 or
exception.
16. We put in 20, like he says, we can always take it out, but you can't put it in.
You also said
We
previously.
keep doing this and
like, how many employees, I hate to be ignorant, but how many employees do we have? I don't know.
360.
350 or so.
360?
Yeah.
So what, are we losing, what, 10 a year on average?
Well, the jail loses 50% every year.
Yeah.
But they don't have a lot accrued, my guess is,
No,
because they haven't
they-
been here
very
very
short
long.
time.
So long-term employees, what are we losing? 6 a year, 10 a year?
I would guess 6 was a high number.
Yeah.
Okay, if we lose 6 a year, what is the exposure, what, 3,000 apiece, 4,000 apiece?
4,
I
I
would
would
s-
say, anyway.
4? So that's
Yeah.
24,000 right there.
All right, let's put 20.
But can I also ask, you mentioned previously, either today or in another meeting,
Yeah.
that typically the department budgets, they have vacancies for a
Yeah.
while
Yeah.
they fill these long-term positions.
Yep.
And they're able to cover
Make it up.
most of that.
Yep.
So is this just to cover what they can't?
The small departments like ours?
Or are you expecting this to pay out all, you're not expecting this to pay out all accruals?
No.
So this is just.
No, an average of 6 a year.
Right, okay. I also was wondering if you could change the name of this line, because I had sent a memo.
Contingency?
I gave Commissioner Babson a copy of a memo, but one of the items on there was that
Yep.
it doesn't fit the definition of succession planning. Succession indicates that you're inheriting something, a position. It doesn't fit what you're trying to do here.
Just contingency, if you take succession out, does it fit then?
So, it does.
Okay.
I looked at the town of Ossipee. They have had a similar fund for many years, and they call it Benefit Pay Expendable Trust. So, I was wondering if you might consider naming it that instead, or Benefit Pay Fund, something that sounds a little better
But-
than, it's not succession planning.
But they don't actually have a trust. They
No.
zero it out every year and replenish it every year. They're not encumbering that money and carrying it forward, are they?
They keep, it's an expendable trust developed by a warrant article, so they keep
Oh, they put it
it
in the warrant article.
every year.
Oh,
They
okay.
add to it what they
add
depleted
to it.
during the year.
Okay, so you
to
put it,
keep it at a certain
got it, you
number.
put it in the warrant
All right.
article.
Yeah.
Are we
Okay.
gonna call this benefit pay?
Okay, well, that's a lot different than a budget. I mean, it's easy if you have a warrant article,
Yeah.
because in addition, I mean, that's an accrual that you're setting up,
Yeah,
so, yeah.
they just do it, and then they made it a trust, so the selectmen
Yeah.
can spend it throughout the year.
Yeah,
but-
I wish we could do that.
How about non-accrued benefits?
Benefit-
Non-accrued?
Benefit pay.
No, that's not right.
You mean accrued benefits?
No.
Non-funded accrued benefits.
Yes, that
Okay.
works.
All right, $20,000. Let's move on.
No, it was, I thought he said 24.
No, 20. He said 20.
Let's keep it 20.
20.
Well, we jacked that department up pretty good.
It seems that the finance software should be able to generate a report on what your liability is. Because the delegation is going to ask that question. Umberger did,
Yep. Well, we'll get Dennis here to answer for us.
I guess.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Human Resource and Services. Did she jack that up $996?
Which one?
Under salaries. Looks like that's what she did, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm just gonna question that, because that's yet to be determined. Which means.
The other one, we have to decide whether we're gonna support a part-time person.
We still have that,
Yeah.
her explanation.
Is that the last one?
That's, yeah, that's the
Oh, I've got-
explanation.
had two.
I've got that here.
Yeah, that's the most recent one.
One.
So it's $12,000, right?
That's for the part-timer.
Yeah.
We have to decide whether we're gonna support that or not.
You know, as Chairman Umberger said, we can't do all this stuff that's in that matrix all in 1 year. And I'm wondering if we hold off on this 25,000, we already put the 15,000 in for the compensation study.
A
I
compensation
mean, where's,
study? Who's going to
what's
do
the
that?
limit going to be?
What are you looking at, David?
I'm looking at the additional recommended in the performance audit is the non-union compensation study, which we put in. Purchase of the HRIS software is recommended in the performance audit. Suggested amount in the performance audit was 25,000.
So why are we putting in for a compensation study? Is there not a subcommittee here looking into compensation?
The delegation had appointed a committee to look at compensation,
Yeah.
and
So why
they
are they
didn't do
not,
anything.
why are they not looking into it? Because now we're going to spend $15,000, and if we have a committee, they can look into those issues.
Is the committee defunct,
What?
compensation committee?
I think they only met a couple
Lavender-
times. The first time Lavender forgot to post it. The second time they met and they didn't get anywhere. I don't know that they've met any time after that.
Well, then they
No.
need to start actively doing something.
I think part of that too, though, is not just, I'm not really sure what the purpose of the committee was, really, but part of what the performance audit recommends is having a classification system so that everybody's has steps, and that's not something that a volunteer committee would normally do that much work. I think that's why it recommends having us, and it also keeps it objective if you have it done by an outside firm versus
Yeah.
personalities
Yeah.
in-house.
The compensation committee was, somehow that got going from Representative Ticer's believed that nobody made a living wage in Carroll County, and they were gonna find out what one was.
Well, what are we gonna do with this part-time position?
Dave, if you look at the, the matrix
Yep.
position, they, on that 25,000, they had that priority as medium, and they had the compensation study at 15 as high, so seems to me we're gonna be biting off more we can chew if we try to do everything in the same year. Maybe this is the one that we put off until next year.
Yeah, I think so
Get our
too.
ducks in a row, but that's extra 25. If as long as it's medium, I say we put that on.
Good.
I think I disagree with Dennis. For this reason, they were the ones that recommended the performance audit.
Yep.
They were the ones that insisted that there be on the commissioner's office and human
Mhm.
resources. And I would put it in and let them take it out, and then at least they can't say like they've been saying now for 2 years, well, you've never put a business plan in, you've never put a capital reserve plan in, which just isn't true. Politically, I think the smart thing to do would be put it in and let them take it out, and then we can say it's in there, and the delegation took it out.
Yeah,
Well,
but
I
I think
don't-
we've
I don't
got
think-
some responsibility
I
here
don't think
too.
we only have to put it in. I think we can leave it out for now.
Do we have the manpower and the resources to do all of this in 1 year? though?
No.
That's my concern.
No. My concern is let them figure out which ones are the ones they want to do.
Well,
No, I
No.
think that we are running this place right. The commissioners need to put in what we want to have done, and then they approve it. And if they say they don't want to fund it, then they take it out. But we need to bring what we want. And if they approve it,
I think,
I hear where you're
Yeah.
coming from, Dave. I mean, there's a part of me that agrees with that, but at the same time, if we ask for money and they grant us the money and we can't get it, we can't accomplish it, I mean, I think we have to be reasonable about how much we can do in 1 year, and I'd be a little embarrassed if we fought for the money, we got the 25 and
Then couldn't do it.
couldn't do it.
well, it's a purchase software, and we'd have to have somebody install it.
Yeah. Now, do we have the, I mean, that,
That would come under the IT.
yeah, I've purchased a lot of software in my years, and it sometimes is very, very difficult and time consuming to get
You
it
just
done.
don't drop it in and have it run.
Oh, no,
Never
no.
happens that way.
All right, then I would,
Okay, I'll go along with the board.
I
I'll
think-
go with the 15.
I think we put that off, and we state that next year we'll be putting in 25,000 to do that.
Okay,
But let's get back to the halftime position.
well, I think we should take both out, 15 and the 25.
In the study, it did say there was one full-time HR for every 90 to 100 people.
Yeah.
We've got two, that takes care of 200 people. We got 350 people.
360, yeah.
It is usually the counties who have HR.
And she's asking for half-time or part-time, actually 16 hours per week.
Who?
Well, I don't know how long we can expect her to stay here at 9 o'clock and work every night
Yeah, I know,
and not get tired of it.
and she's doing a good job.
I think, well, the other counties who have HR, they usually have 2 people.
I'll make a motion, we stay with it.
Stay with what?
$12,000
For what? For
12,000 into
for a high
human
school
resource.
graduate, part-time.
For another part-time person?
Yeah.
I'm opposed to that.
Okay,
We haven't taken a vote yet.
right now,
Yeah, I'm
I
telling
made a
you, I'm
motion,
opposed
Mr.
to that.
Chairman.
oh, you did?
Yes, I made a motion that we keep the
All right.
$12,000 in it.
I'll second it. All those in support of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, 2-1 for the minutes.
For 360 employees, that is not a huge department by any means.
No. Yeah, at some point in time, she's gonna burn out. She's here at 8 or 9 o'clock
Yeah.
almost every
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
Um,
That's not a big department.
And she's
for
doing a
that many
good job.
employees.
I'd like to keep her. All right, on salaries, then, that's a questionable amount, that $996. That's gotta be maybe for her assistant.
No, that's her and her assistant.
Well, I think we take that out and talk about that later,
About what? Salary?
about the salaries. Let's go down to education and conferences.
How did it go up?
Didn't go
Those
up.
539? Yeah. it went
Education and conferences is now at 2,500. That's what it was. She spent 1,100. Previous years, it's been quite a bit lower.
Well, don't forget, David, with the thing up in Whitefield isn't added in this one yet either.
Yeah, true.
I think only, did Debbie go or just? or
Debbie
just
went,
one
but Debbie didn't stay, she stayed one night.
Well, that's gonna blow that out of the water.
Yeah. All right, leave it.
And she stayed, the HR stayed 2 days, 2 nights?
Other fees and services, 5,000.
So what is the
It
other
was
fees and services again?
5,012. In 13, it was 5,600.
And what is that again, the other fees and services?
What did she say on that paper right there, Robert? Anything?
Oh, that's right, we got it right
You
here.
have the breakdown that she gave you, the, under your left hand. Yep. That thing.
Oh, did you get a breakdown? I don't have it.
027, that's good. Other services. Additionally recommended, no, that's not right.
Legal fees and other services. Oh, 27.
Yeah. But it says here,
Legal fees and other
027, if I've got the, did I grab the wrong one, or is it? No, it's the right
What
one.
does it
So-
say?
Additionally recommended in the performance audit is a non-union compensation study, which is suggested in the audit with approximate 15,000 for 2015, and that says that's 027, and that's not 027 on here. It's wrong.
That's all it says?
The 027, that's the one up in the top of the page, Dave. That 027, that 15, the third item down from the top. That's the 15 they're talking about.
Right, but on your sheet there,
Yeah.
Dennis, above, other fees, the line item is 100.41003.027,
Yeah,
and that's what she has written down here as the 15,000, and something's wrong.
Oh, okay,
So if it's not the same,
okay.
so somebody's, I wonder
oh, I
what,
see.
Well, she budgeted, the budget for it was 5,000 last year. She's asking for 5,000 again. It's level funded.
no, there's a mistake in what's printed here. Has to be, because one is about the performance non-union compensation study, and the other is about
Legal fees.
fees and services, and one's 15,000 and the other's 5, so it can't be the same one.
No, I don't think it is.
Because she was gonna put that in this one, the 15 in here, but then Kathy instead created a new line for the compensation study under the commissioner's special fees instead. So when she had made those notes, she was gonna put it in her budget,
Yeah,
but Kathy
Okay.
separated it instead.
Oh, okay.
So that's.
How do you know all this?
Because I was here, I was listening. I was paying attention. That's why you pay me that. That's why you pay me for doing nothing.
okay. Under office supplies, the same as it was, 2,500. Under office supplies, she's got to print more personnel manuals, employment manual for any new hires.
Yep.
And I'm not sure she's caught up on everybody else that doesn't have one. You remember the discussion, they wanted to have either a booklet like this, where you could add something to it, which I think is a good idea, or something that is,
Well, that's what it is, that's what
Staple.
it says here. I suggested a disc.
Yeah,
That's what it
why,
was for.
why is the sheriff department, they're using a disc, they do it online.
well, either way, it's gonna cost
This will be less.
money, right?
Be interested to,
Dues,
That machine.
licenses, and subscriptions. She wants us to join the New Hampshire Municipal Association. The dues are $500.
Yeah, but we don't get any legal advice on that, right?
That's true, and that's why we decided not to do it last time. But I think in the study, we need to get all the information that we can, and I think the Hampshire Municipal Association, with the exception of legal fees, can supply us with a lot of information.
It's a good organization. If you're looking for employees and you can put ads in there, I highly recommend we.
That's one of the things
Yeah,
that she
it's-
said when she recommended
Yeah.
doing it, we could post it.
It's one of the best ones to find municipal employees in the state.
I was
so-
against it because they didn't give any legal advice, but
Yeah.
I've changed my thinking, and I would vote in favor of it.
Okay. Postage, 300.
So you think Primex?
Advertising.
doesn't give all the info?
She dropped that by 500, maybe because if we give the correctional officers a decent wage, maybe we won't lose so many, so we won't have to advertise as much.
Advertise so often.
Telephone is the same. Travel expense, she increased that by 200.
And why?
Increase due to mileage reports not submitted by HR director due to budget constraints. Hmm?
So she wasn't putting in mileage, she was paying for it herself, and now she
Yes,
wants
and
us
she
to pay
goes
for it.
she
Yeah.
goes to a lot of seminars.
Yeah.
Why
Alright.
is she going to Los Cinema? She come from a
She's a high
place
school
where
graduate.
where she had training and stuff. The seminars, she need to come by the board for approval, right? If she's going. And where is she today? She's absent.
She's at
she's at a
one.
conference.
What kind of conference?
It says it on her door. I don't remember.
Okay, new equipment, $500. Remain the same to include locks for personal filing cabinets, new keyboard for HR generalists. When you look at our budget, it's up, what, 12%?
Yeah.
But that also includes salaries.
Includes a part-time person too.
That's right.
Yeah, if you take that 12,000 out, it's up about 9,000, that's not a bad number.
Okay, waterworks. No change in that except for water testing, and that's down. Electric expense is also down.
Can you tell me, in like 30 seconds, what is a waterworks? Is
The
it a-
waterworks, we have at least 2 artesian wells up on the mountain, and we
Okay.
have a couple of dug wells
Okay,
that fill up a 90,000 gallon reservoir,
okay,
and that feeds, gravity fed to these buildings, and
okay.
about 40, 42 customers down in the village. We can't get
Oh.
rid of those. We
Oh.
tried to.
Okay,
And one of the problems was the state salt shed is down there,
yeah,
and you know what happened to the salt. It polluted the wells right in that vicinity. Not to say the state, I think the state paid for connecting our water supply to their houses
okay,
rather than from their wells.
okay. So that's private plus, all of these buildings plus some private in
Yeah.
the village.
And they
Yeah.
get billed $500 a quarter, plus they have a meter on each house, as well as the courthouse and the house up the road. They have meters,
Okay.
so the guys read the meters and they get charged so much
Usage.
usage
So-
besides the
Oh,
$500.
500 plus usage?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, 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 got it, thank
And
you.
that theoretically, Dennis, is supposed to be an enterprise fund. but-
Yeah,
Okay.
all right. Telephone?
Now, if one of those mains breaks down there, is that our responsibility?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yep.
Okay.
And it happens quite frequently in the
Yeah.
winter.
It did, but we got a new system,
New system.
and we haven't had any problems in the last couple of years.
Okay.
We had asbestos in our pipes, and the pipes were sometimes right out of the ground, would freeze, there's all kinds of problems. We got that straightened out,
Okay.
thank God. Telephone is 500. The chemicals are for the wells, for the water. And we're buying those every year now. We were buying them every other year, but they get stale apparently. Maintenance repair, same. Labor cost, the same. Ossipee
Yeah, but
Town-
we're way, way under on what we've spent through 10 months.
That's
Assuming
true.
they didn't-
But when
Assuming
you-
they didn't have a huge one.
When you look back at 2011, 2012, 2013,
And we got a newer system.
and we got a newer system, true.
I think we
But
can
if a-
reduce
if a-
that by at least $500.
Okay, you can do that. I think that'd be all right.
Which line? I'm sorry. The maintenance?
Maintenance and repair, no, labor,
Water,
Which, right.
labor cost you're talking about, aren't you?
no.
What are you talking about?
Maintenance repair under the waterworks on page 5.
Yeah,
So you want it to be 3,000
Want it to be
instead?
3,000.
all right, you wanna drop that by 500, correct?
Yes.
Okay, what about the next labor cost?
That's Wayne. That's part of, I think Dennis was asking about how they're apportioned. That's an apportioned amount between he and the farm,
Yeah.
between the water and the farm.
I thought, are you sure? Because there's a salary line too.
Hmm?
There's a salary line under waterworks too. So for some reason, I thought that labor costs Will said were
I think it's-
outside labor
It's
costs.
outside labor, if a foot valve goes on a,
Right.
you have to have somebody else come in with a hoist to hoist it out and fix it. So I think it's the outside labor. I don't think we can cut that. If we lose our water, we're
So,
sunk.
so do you want to leave the 3,000, make it 3,500, and, is that what you're saying? Take-
No.
Okay.
Leave the labor cost at
Oh, all right.
12,000. Ossipee town taxes, there you go.
I
We ought to
think we ought to
reduce,
increase those.
we ought to reduce that.
50%,
I
maybe
think-
more.
take 700 out of that one. I'm only kidding. Okay, insurance, all right, not much we can do. The budget is down by 0.4%. It's gonna be down a little more now. All right, attorney. It bothers me to think that we're going to increase the part-time secretary. I believe that's the item, isn't it? The $600?
We had those this morning.
Yeah.
Gotta locate them, hold on here, here we go.
She said part-time, she's actually full-time, she works part-time
Well-
for the victim witness and part-time
Yeah.
for the attorney.
But I thought the figure we saw was $600.
It's part-time salary is a $600 increase in both places for
Yeah.
$1,200.
But it doesn't show it when you look at the difference.
Yes, because she said that was a misprint, it was $18,916.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
So overall, you're taking the salary for that one person
$1,200.
from 37,832
No,
to 39,000.
yeah, adding the two together, yes.
So
I think it's a little high.
And that's a part-time, is that just a
No, 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 no.
clerk or?
No, it's a full-time position.
Oh,
Half-time
part-time.
for the attorney
Yeah,
and
I'm sorry, you're
half-time
right.
for the victim witness.
Yep. So it's a full-time salary.
Full-time salary.
Is she a lawyer? She'd have to be, right? I mean, she's not a secretary.
What are you talking about?
she's,
Salary, part-time on the attorney, the one that's we just said is $40,000. Is she a lawyer or is she a secretary?
No, she's a secretary.
Okay, that's what I asked. I don't see how we can give somebody a $1,200 raise when everybody else is not gonna be anywhere near that, I would guess.
I would take that out, and I would, when we decide what we're going to give the non-union wages, that's where
She
she
gets the
falls
non-union
in.
way, yes.
She falls into that category.
Yes, absolutely.
so you want that to go back to the 18,916?
Yes.
That it was supposed to be for 2014?
Would you say that figure was 18,000?
18,916.
So then we also have to do that on
Is
the,
916? I had 64, it's 916?
I have 18,916, but I'm
Okay.
dyslexic. I'd hoped it would be 1,869, but it isn't.
so then on page 6, under the victim witness, the salary for secretary
Same thing.
needs to be
We've got to change
down
that.
to 18916. And then you'll,
Okay.
Kathy will need to do adjustments to the other payroll
Yes.
to bring those
Yeah.
to Social Security and such.
Same is true for the paralegal.
Okay.
She's increased that by $1,300.
So we're gonna do this, what are we gonna do, the same thing, that'd be, whatever the non-union people get? Is that what you just said?
Yeah. Paralegal is a little more,
Sophisticated job.
What kind of increases do you think are fair, like on that part-time attorney line? What percentage are you guys looking at?
for increases.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know yet.
It will be based, or it has been historically, Dennis, on what the union people get.
And typically,
Last year, last it was 40
cents last
cents.
year. 40 cents an hour last year,
what's
which was
that,
roughly
$832.
2%.
2%?
2%, yeah.
Yeah. Cost of living is 1.7 this year.
Because this is a 3% increase, right? If we go from the 18,916 to the
Yeah.
19,500?
Yeah, well, we can't do that. My personal feeling is like, I can't go for the 1377. Where's everybody else coming from?
Where'd you see 1377?
Under paralegal,
Paralegal.
second salary paralegal. The difference, meaning that was the increase. 13.
The increase, I was looking at an hourly rate, no. Yeah, I would think that person would be the same, that there'd be non-union increases. They're employees of the county, not of the Attorney General, county attorney.
Okay,
I put them all at whatever the non-union people get, they get.
Because both of them are at 3.2% increase. Both the part-time and the paralegal are up 3.2%.
yeah.
So you want those numbers at the 2014 budget for now,
Yep.
until the union contracts are all
Yep.
set? Okay. And then I'll let Kathy know so she can adjust.
Salary for assistant attorney, she's increased that $10,000. Dennis, you mind if I call you Dennis? Or should we call you Commissioner Miller?
Commissioner,
Is
we can make it
Commissioner-
even longer, we can
He's
make it,
Commissioner-elect.
yeah, Commissioner.
Um, The only person that ever called me Dennis was my mother. Everybody else calls me Denny. I prefer Denny.
Denny?
D-E-N-N-Y, Denny. That's my nickname.
Even they've had with the trouble at the restaurants, you prefer to be
Denny's?
called Denny?
Denny.
Okay.
If it's Dennis, that means somebody's usually
You're in
upset
trouble.
with me, or I'm in trouble. Denny, that means everything's going fine. Denny is.
Okay. In the past, before Robin was elected, Dewhurst put in a good salary adjustment for the part-time, for the assistant attorneys,
Okay.
and she cut it out. She
Oh,
reduced it. And because, he put it in because there's a turnover. They're going, we're trained here, and they're
Yeah.
going someplace else.
Yeah.
Now, one of them got a huge job, which you can't count in there, but the others left because they could get more money, other counties.
okay.
Wasn't long ago, we were paying an average attorney in there $42,000.
Yeah, that's pretty low though.
And then I got them, convinced them to, remember the delegation turned down my motion, and then after we lost about 3 in 3 months, they decided, well, maybe we ought to raise the pay. But I think they've had pretty close, if you listen to Dewhurst, he'll tell you they've had 100% turnover in assistant attorneys in the last 2 years, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
Some of it's got to be money.
We have a lot, yeah.
So she put in 10,000, you gonna leave that there? I think the delegation will take a strong look at that and decide that anyway.
Decide what?
She put some
What the
increase,
assistant
right?
attorneys are going to be getting.
Well, first of all, I don't think all assistant attorneys ought to get the same amount of money. And you've got some that have been there 5 years, some that have been there 6 months, some have been 2 years, some are far more qualified than others. I think we ought to leave it up to the
Leave it up
county
to the
attorney,
new
but-
county attorney, okay? But the question is, you wanna leave that 10,000 in
Yes.
Yes.
there? Okay?
How is that different than the other?
That's
People.
5.5% for everybody on average, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I mean, that's. I know-
That's true,
And
Denny,
for-
but we're facing a huge turnover problem in the county attorney's office in the jail. Jail's been 100% in 2 years, this has been 100% in 2 years.
So we got a
Some
lot,
of it-
we got a lot of makeup, a lot of catch-up to do.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah, but
We
the
had that
salaries-
opportunity
Yep.
2 years ago, and she
okay,
turned it
She
back.
took them out.
Take it out,
She
yeah.
Okay.
took it out.
The salaries are very low.
no problem.
She'd rather get
Assistant
somebody
attorneys.
right out of college.
Yeah. Yeah,
We train them and then they leave.
no, that's a money-losing proposition.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
leave the salaries increase in for the assistant attorneys, take out the salary increases for everyone else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. The salary for the attorney is set by the delegation.
Dental insurance, everybody gets dental insurance, single person. You as a county commissioner, Denny, would get a dental insurance if you wanted it.
Okay.
Education and conferences. That's up about 50%. I'd cut $1,000 out of it easy.
It hasn't changed. It's level funding request.
You
But
want-
up over what's been spent historically, I don't look what's it budgeted the year before, I look at what's spent,
All right, you want to reduce that by 1,000?
yes.
But I believe she mentioned that you have every time like a conference, but they couldn't attend because trial was scheduled for that day. So probably they will go probably next year to the conference and attend those conferences.
She's
So
not going
I don't-
anywhere.
I don't think that we should reduce that. We should leave it in so they can go to the training and the conferences.
I know education
Those
and
attorneys.
conference is one that the delegation really takes a look at, but you
Yeah,
know, if
but
we don't
these
educate our
attorneys-
people, then we're not gonna grow as a county, we're gonna be in the back ages, not learning the new.
I'll go the other way, David. I have no problem paying for education and conferences to increase their ability, but I want to find out whether they're going to stay here after we educate them. You know, we have a couple of years' history where we have a balanced workforce, and then put more money into it. But why put money into it if they're going to turn around and leave? Which has been the history the last 2 years.
True.
Well, I'm not in favor of cutting out the conferences.
So what are we doing with that one?
How about 500?
Okay,
We reduced that one by 500.
So that's the,
Education and
education and
conferences.
conferences.
got it. One thing I'd like to suggest, just for us to think about, but I noticed that we put, and I'm just picking medical insurance, we put it in every budget, and that one can swing wildly, whether it's a single plan or a family plan.
Right.
Yeah,
At some point, I'd like to suggest that that's a one line item underneath personnel, because somebody comes in and switches to a family plan and it looks like their budget went up 18,000, and it's not,
That's
it's not an
exactly-
accurate comparison.
exactly what happened to the, this building.
Yeah,
He switched, he didn't have a plan. Now all of a sudden it's
Yeah.
24,000.
because somebody's negotiating that plan, it's not the employees doing it individually, somebody's negotiating the health care. And
Yep.
if we had that at one line item, and then you wouldn't see the swings in department if somebody goes off the plan, comes on the plan, has a family plan versus a single plan, and it'd make the comparison from years to year a little easier to look at.
Where would you put it, Dennis? Under?
Separate-
I put it under a separate line item,
Commissioners?
under personnel,
Well, we don't have a personnel
Well-
item.
You don't
Could
have,
create one.
yeah.
you have to put in.
Human
We
resources,
put-
stick it under
Either human resources or commissioners, either one.
Yeah, yeah, but that's, you get some wild fluctuations, and the rest of
10%.
them are pretty solid. You know, whether it's social security, the rest of them that goes up and down, but this one I have huge swings. You're talking $15,000 if you go from a single to a family. And it looks like the budget had a huge increase, and it didn't.
Yeah.
Change
Very
of
good point.
plans.
Is it too late to do that this year?
You can put a separate line
Well, we
item,
could,
I guess.
we could,
You
something
could
to think
just
about
move it.
next year. I mean, we don't have to do it now because we're in the middle of the budget season, but just as a
Yeah.
refinement,
Let's do that
To
next year.
move it.
yeah.
Yep.
You know, we could use some help. I don't know if you know a lot about medical plans, but we've got to change because we've got a rich plan
Okay.
and we're going to get severe penalty.
The Cadillac
The
type?
Obamacare,
Mm-hmm,
the Cadillac.
mm-hmm, yeah.
We're trying to work with the unions to do it, but the only plans we have is a higher deductible.
Yeah, they're gonna get,
And the people are not, right now, we're picking up the first 1,000 to keep
Mhm.
the plan low.
yeah,
But under the new plan, the employee's gonna have to pick up the first 1,000, we pick up the second 1,000.
yeah.
They're not gonna like that.
Oh, I
They don't
know.
like it right now,
I know, but
but we gotta do something.
I know it. Huge changes coming in that area. So what, that education's down to 2,500?
Yeah.
Yes.
Criminal case expense. I don't know what to do with that one.
Well, we've got 5,600, 3,900, 39. Then we have 3/4 of a year at 1,700, and now she's going to 5,000. I don't know how you predict what kind of crimes we're gonna have.
You wanna take 1,000 off that?
I would.
Okay. Other fees and services.
We're taking 1,000 out. I believe she mentioned there is maybe possibility for something out of the
The
country.
criminal case coming from where?
Out of
No,
the
I
country.
made
I
a
don't
note
know.
of that. No, that's somewhere
That was
else.
somewhere else.
Oh,
That's under extraditing.
What if we leave the other fees and services at 3,600? In other words, reduce it by 400.
Yeah, the year-to-date's only at 22, so.
Yeah. And past years has been 3,000.
Yeah.
200. I think it could easily go 400.
Yeah.
Gonna make it 3,600?
Yeah.
Excuse me, what did we do on the one above that? Made it
4,000.
4,000, not
4,000?
1,000.
Okay.
at the right, and then this one's gonna be 3,600.
Yeah.
Okay.
Victim witness.
Victim witness.
First of all, well, we're leaving the secretary, she'll get whatever everybody else gets.
Yep.
So her salary, she automatically put in $1,200, roughly, right?
Yep, I'd like
Is
to
that- no.
suggest that she get the same amount of money as any other employee, whatever the union raises.
Are we agreeable on that?
And what? The salaries?
Salaries?
How much what she wanted? She wanted the increase of what?
She wanted to increase 1,200. If we go with
Oh,
what
she wanted
others
the
get, it'll
same?
probably be more like,
The same as the secretary. We both
400.
have 1,200.
okay. Um,
Wasn't that the 18,196 again?
That's the one above it, Dennis.
Okay, got it. That's the same person though, right?
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. But that's not the victim witness person. She's the one that sat here with the county
Yeah.
attorney.
yeah. All right, so we'll go with what everybody else gets.
Nope.
Okay. Education and conferences.
I'm sorry, but I think $1,200 to go to San Diego, last year it was Seattle, is too much money.
What are you suggesting?
I don't know, I'd go with $600.
How about 1,100? Reduce it by 500.
Okay.
Where was this trip?
What's that?
Where is the trip? Where is she going?
Educate,
New Orleans.
California or someplace.
San
What is-
Diego, I think she said.
Oh,
That's California.
I heard New Orleans. Did I hear that
New
wrong?
Orleans.
Maybe
you're
it was
right.
New Orleans. Yeah,
You're
it was
right.
New
I
Orleans.
don't know.
You got a
I think-
good memory.
You do, and it was Seattle the year before, because I,
Okay.
wait a minute, you're supposed to be shut off here. How do you work that?
So you want to cut that to 1,100?
1,100.
So it's going to total is 11 now, right? 1,100
Yeah.
now. So you cut it. You got $500.
Yeah. Other fees and services? Leave it at 600? Other fees and services, David?
Other fees and services.
660.
Yeah, I guess. That looks about right.
600? Office supplies. It looks like, well, she's had 500, 400.
When you combine that with
Yeah.
the attorney, where is the county attorney? I got so much paperwork here. Is this it? No. Oh my goodness, what did I just do?
Office supplies for the county attorney is 2,800.
Yeah, so that's, what do they want, 500 here?
Yeah.
That's
How
that's
about,
over $3,000 for paper and pencils.
how about 400? Take 100 off it?
I'd take more. I got plenty of stuff in there to work with.
What do you want?
I'll go with
400?
400.
Okay.
I'll go with 300. What am I talking about?
So from 500 to 3 or 4?
I'm going with 3. I mean, if they're working together and they're in the same office, I just, beyond my comprehension that they need $3,000 worth of paper
Yeah,
supplies.
Asha, what do you say?
Can you tell me which line item again?
Office supplies. Denny, what do you think?
So it is $500?
Right now, she's asking for 500.
And what again is in the office?
I say 4,
supplies?
David says 3.
How about 350?
I'd say 4.
4? All right, let's keep it at,
Yeah, 4 is
let's go
fine.
4. Office equipment? That's, she explained that as being, using the county attorney's equipment, and that's what she pays towards the use of it?
To help split the cost of equipment,
In the office.
like when they have to buy the new laser printer.
Or if they had to buy her a print roller or something, that was her explanation.
Yes,
Adding something, yeah.
they split the cost.
What do you want to do with it?
Was it any item that she's getting? She didn't mention that she's getting anything, right?
Well, if it's got something to do with the printer, it should have come out with IT, like everybody else's.
Yeah, it's true.
Or she has an IT line?
Office equipment, office equipment.
She haven't, oh, they take it all out. Okay.
I have my notes. When we asked her about it, there was no answer.
I thought she mentioned something about a print roller or a cartridge or something. Isn't that what she said
Thought.
when we asked her about it?
If she need anything,
Yeah.
yeah, then.
The cartridges should come out of office supplies and not out of new equipment.
Office equipment. It doesn't say new.
Office equipment, you're right.
Well, they haven't spent very much so far.
No,
2012 was only $53.
My note here is I have no on $400.
want to go 300?
My no, I think, meant nothing.
You want to put
They need-
0?
They need something. But, you know, they,
Well,
0.
I'll go with 300.
if you make it too little, they can't buy it unless they take money from another account, another line
On a
item.
line item.
And do you
think
think
it
we'd
would
have
be
an
fine.
over?
But I'd rather have them say, that's what we need, that's what it's gonna cost. But it's sort of iffy.
Why don't we put 200 in?
200, sounds good to me.
I think you ought to get downstairs and get sworn in, Dennis.
All right, under telephone,
I don't know why there's a $300 increase. I signed this telephone bill, and my recollection is we pay a stipend towards our own phone. And maybe the program's going up, but that's,
telephone, she may have a cell phone.
yeah, she does have a cell phone,
She
and we
does.
pay a part of it.
Okay.
I don't believe we pay the whole thing, I think we pay a part. I can't believe it's going up $300. Or maybe that includes an office phone that might be going up.
Why would our phone expenses be moving this fast? Who do we get our service from here?
Verizon. We get Fairpoint comes in and Verizon takes over. And we have a packet about that thick of telephone bills every month.
And we buy cell phones or pay part of the cell phone?
We do for the people that we've deemed need. Willie at the farm because he has to handle the water. Wayne because he's a sewer attendant. If it goes, they gotta get a hold of him. Jason Henry, about the only one that does it we don't pay for is the business office.
Yeah.
Sheriff has a whole bunch that,
Victim witnesses uses it. If she's over to the courthouse, they need to communicate back and forth. I don't see any problem with her having a cell phone.
I don't either, but I don't see why it's going up $300.
All right.
But I'm saying it may be, part of that phone bill may be apportioned out of the Verizon bill for the whole shebang here.
Want to put it back to 1,500?
Yes.
All right. Travel expense. Travel expense.
Well,
That's down from the year-to-date.
Yeah, yeah.
Quite a bit.
I don't know who's going
Down
where. but-
$1,500.
Yeah.
could be down a lot more if you want to take a bus.
All right.
No, seriously, we had
I
a
hear
problem.
you. I hear you.
We paid, she,
Yeah.
what are you doing with that one, David?
Leaving it.
No, I'm not.
Under
I'm
travel,
making travel, but we're here
it's
to buy.
2,000. She cut it back 1,500.
That's a pretty good cut, Dave.
Yes, she did, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay,
just
yep.
leave it.
Can we
Yep.
just review victim witness quickly, make sure I have everything? So the secretary's salary should be corrected for 2014 and
Yep.
level funded.
Salaries will be, her salary will be corrected.
Okay.
Not level funded, but
18,916.
cut back to what it was, but will include
Yes.
the non-union increase when it comes
When it
about.
comes out, okay.
Education conferences back to 1,100.
1,100. And then office supplies to,
Other fees and
Oh.
services, 600.
okay.
Wait a minute, David, I missed that one, hold on here.
Yes, the 660 went to 600.
Just went to
Dave.
600.
Third line item down.
Okay. And then office supplies,
I'm
400?
screwed up
sorry.
The 660 is down to 600.
here. I'm down to 600, okay.
600, 400, that 200,
Okay,
and then 1,500.
All right, so the office supplies is 400,
Yep,
Mhm.
office equipment 200,
Yep,
and then telephone 15.
1,500.
1,500.
Those
Yeah.
are, that's all the changes?
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
well, also on her salary, we cut that.
We're gonna set that.
No, we cut that and left it at whatever the union increase, back to what it already is, plus the union increase.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That went, that
Secretary
19,332 went to 18,916, and then we'll put the percentage increase on, for both those line items, right?
Yep.
The 19
Not
and the 45?
percentage, no, not percentage, Dennis, whatever the union has been getting an hourly wage increase, not a percentage.
I know, but we're gonna convert that to a percentage for this, right?
We hadn't planned on it, we just put it in there and,
Well, how are you gonna,
They'll get the same raise as the non-union, as the union people get.
Can I?
yeah, but you have to take the union people, convert it to a percentage to get equality back to here, right? Isn't that what you're gonna end
Yeah,
up
we can
doing?
do that. Either way, we can do it.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
did it 40 cents last year so that the higher people didn't get more,
Yeah,
but everybody got the same amount.
right.
I don't think that's what he's talking
But,
about.
no, but that 40, everybody's in pretty close range in that 40%, in that 40 cents, right?
Right.
Now, you can't take somebody that's making $40,000 an hour and give 40 cents to somebody that's making 80 and be fair about it. That's what I'm saying, is that if that 40 cents an hour turns out to be an average for the non-union of
No, that's.
2.5%.
It is an average.
Yeah, then you're gonna have to take that same 2.5 and apply it to these numbers, aren't you? To be fair?
No.
Those
What
that
we're
got
saying,
80
we give them a flat, everybody, anybody here is non-union that's working for this county got a 40 cent an hour raise, whether they made 100 grand or they made 25.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Why, you think the ones that are higher should be getting
Should
more?
get more.
He wants to convert it to a percentage.
I think
and
it
then
should be
get-
a percentage.
Yeah,
then
but
it'll
Because what you're doing then is, I mean, you're really, the people at the higher ranges, you're really,
Hurting them?
you're hurting them.
Why?
That's one of the reasons for the compensation study is so
Yeah,
critical.
well-
That's all.
If the inflation rate's 1.7%,
Yeah,
Right.
okay,
yeah.
and you're trying to keep everybody on an equal playing
They
field,
should get 1.7.
they should get 1.7%.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But,
But I think this idea was that maybe the people who earn more are getting a couple thousand, and the other at the lower end getting maybe like 300-400. So we're trying to do it across the board, everyone the same.
Well,
we were looking at trying to give the lower people a little more. 1.7 of 40 is a lot different than 1.7 of 80. We
I
try to get the
understand what you're
bottom
doing.
up a little bit,
yeah.
but we're hurting the top, you think?
Well, you know, the people at the top, they have
More
expenses too,
responsibility.
I
Gotta buy
mean,
a smaller boat.
right? What, Dave?
I said they gotta buy a smaller boat.
Yeah, but they got kids going to school and
That's true.
everything else going on.
We
so-
felt,
So
then we
these
felt
people-
that the fairest way, rather than to have an inflated increase at the high end, we were better off giving a straight
Everyone the
across the
same.
board hourly wage to everybody. And that's what we did.
It may have hurt the upper ones, but it helped the lower ones.
I believe in the past, it was like that.
We've done it both ways.
Yes,
Both ways.
I believe in the past they were getting more, and then later, the other one were
Yeah,
getting
and I understand where you're coming from, and you can, you know, maybe you can do that for a 2-3 year stretch, but at some point,
You need to
people
go
at
back.
the top are getting hammered, so, I mean, you gotta think about that too.
Okay.
Can I ask a question about salaries? I just want to make sure that when the budget was adopted in March, all of the budgets included that 40 cents.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to make sure that none of those increases are reflected in
All the
these.
non-union got 40 cents.
Okay.
Do we have a issue with pay scale on the bottom, and, I mean, we have too many people at a lower range?
Yes.
We're trying to
Yeah.
pull up?
Yes.
Okay. So
The
that's what we
LNAs
do.
that take care of all the dirty work over there make $10 an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree.
We did pretty well. We went 7 hours without getting in an argument with them. That's not bad.
Not an argument,
Just
it's-
just a little discussion,
That's right.
okay?
All right, let's move on here.
It's
We gotta
input
keep
that we've
going.
needed badly for years.
All right, registry of deeds. You got that one?
Yep, I will in a second. Maybe I won't in a second. We're gonna go to the main revamped sheet, right? Attorney. Registry of Deeds, page 7. yes.
She has no overtime. Ooh, she put in 5.8% salaries. She did that last year. And we took it back.
Yep,
She had $1 in there rather than 40 cents. And we gave them all 40 cents.
and I'd make a motion, we do the same thing this year. Whatever the union contract is, they get the same thing.
I
And
think
that worked out
Wait
to
a minute.
around $832.
Wait a minute, this is a
Yeah.
decrease.
Hmm.
It's a decrease of 5.8%.
She had funding in there for an additional person. She tried unsuccessfully twice to fill that, and the people didn't work out, so she decided not to refill that.
You're
And
right.
wanted to use that money to reward the employees that have been there from 10 to 20 years.
Um,
I think that was what she had said a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
How do you
you're right.
remember all of this?
You can't do that. I mean, what's fair is fair.
Why is she decreasing?
She didn't hire, she had a vacant position,
Yeah.
she decided not to fill it. But she wanted to take that money and give it to the others.
I think perhaps the volume's decreased in the department as the number of documents are moving, at least right now.
Not that many.
Not as much being as recorded as a couple of years ago when that position first became vacant, maybe.
But if we're going online, we probably need less positions too.
My suggestion would be that we find out what these people are currently making, total it up, and the non-union employees' increase would be applied to whatever they're making
Yeah.
across the board.
Yeah. If we're gonna do it with the paralegal and others, I think we gotta do it with them too.
Absolutely.
So,
I mean, we have to have this thing finalized by the 10th, long before Lisa shows up.
No, but, excuse me, Dennis, we have to have it filed with the state by December 1st.
by first.
First, I thought it was the 10th.
So we got the 26th is gotta be our final day so that Kathy can print it and get it to the state by the 1st of December.
Okay, well, I'm just a little uncomfortable putting big cuts in here and then turning it over to a new elected official to try to run a department with a reduction of $26,000. I mean,
This is also just the beginning. Once the commissioners submit it on December 1st, then it goes through, each budget goes through several delegation subcommittee meetings. The
right.
delegation will hash it over at least 6 times, and then it'll be
Right.
finalized March 31st.
Okay, but the
So
fact,
the department heads can come in and argue anything they want, and a lot of times the delegation changes it.
the fact remains though, is if we submit this budget with the reduction of 26,000, it's a lot harder to add money to it than it
Where-
is.
Where'd you
Well,
come up with the
two things,
26th?
Dennis.
Well, look at the second page.
Two things. Number one, we've made a commitment
The
to,
registry of deeds here runs page and a half, right?
Yeah.
And
we
if
made a
we-
commitment to have the
You're right.
union settled before the 1st of December, so we can add that into the salary figure, which we never have done before. We've always left it open and then made it retroactive to April 1st when the budget is signed. This time, we're trying to get it done, so we'll look at it. Your $46,000 increase that I think you're talking about includes taking that wage of the person that didn't come to work, splitting it up among the people that are here, and giving them the wage increase.
No, what I'm looking at, Dave, is the second page.
Yeah, he's looking at the
of this. I'm
26th.
looking at the bottom, and we
Bottom
took,
line.
there's a 5% reduction in the total budget.
Oh, yeah, I see where you are,
See,
okay.
and to me, that, to hire a brand-new registry of deeds, she walks in the door and she's gotta restore it 5% just to get back to level as to where it was this year. That bothers me.
Well, where are the big increases in this, or big decreases?
Well, up in the.
12,000.
up in the- You got 15,000, 12,000, all,
Yeah. I would not be in support of reducing it 15,000. I think we go back to the 266,
yeah.
and whatever we give non-public, we give them.
That's what I'm saying.
Non-union.
So we don't cut it 15,000, and in fact, she's gonna say, well, we're not hiring an extra person. Well, maybe the new person would wanna hire the extra person.
That's my point.
So, let's go back, leave it 266.
Okay, we're gonna use the 266 figure?
Yeah,
Mhm.
All right.
and of course, that's gonna change all that other stuff.
Yeah.
You see any other areas that you wanna change?
Well, the medical insurance dropped $12,000. Is that because somebody went from a family to a, I mean, why do we have such a big drop in that medical at 12,000?
My gut feeling would be that
That
between
vacant-
Ann and her daughter not taking their insurance and not being here,
No, well,
they wouldn't get it.
it could also be the person that she dropped. That she didn't fill that vacant position. And they may have had medical, so,
But we should
That
at
would've
least
been a single,
restore that
maybe?
with a single plan, at least, right?
yeah. 9,000, I think, is a single, I was
Yeah.
thinking.
We should probably
Maybe
put,
12.
put
Roughly.
9 back into that, just to cover that.
It's
Right.
it's relative, around $2,100, $22,000 for a single plan, and they're
What?
paying 20% of it.
No, that's
No,
a
no, no, no.
family's 22,000,
Yeah.
not a single.
A single-
Single's gotta be 8 or 9.
18.
That's right.
Okay, but a single plan's gotta
Single's
be around
9.
7
It'll
or
be
8, right?
9.
No,
8 or
Nine.
9.
9, is it 9?
9, I think,
I think it's
Okay.
more than that.
No.
but you're right, a family is like
It's
22 or
8,000.
Yeah.
Family's
24.
22, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
almost
we know
25
because-
family.
Jerry just went to a family plan, it was 24,000.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
24.
24 something, almost 25 though.
And I have to ask again, is the total expense being shown in this line? And then somewhere on the revenue side, the employee portion of the insurance is being?
Should be,
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, you
should be.
is this the full 100% of each medical plan and then the revenue is reflected somewhere else that you
Yes.
take out of the employees' paychecks? Or is this only
I believe
the
this is our
county
80%,
portion? This is only your 80%?
yeah.
So I just have another question. You know, again, that same question. Are we accurately reflecting all expenses on the expenditure sheet and all revenues?
Well, if the individual picks up 20%, that should go on here.
David, what's the
I
logic
think
of
it
only
has
putting
to.
in 80%? Why not put in 100%, offset it by their portion in revenue?
Dave, it's been my understanding on these kind of budgets that the rate to expend has to be the 100% level, and the revenue side comes in to
Comes in.
offset it.
It's like,
I don't think you can reduce this by the offset. I think you have to show the entire amount on the budget.
you can't
Maybe.
mix
I mean, that's the way
revenue.
we did it with the town. We
Yeah.
never netted them. I'd be
Okay,
surprised if you could do that.
okay.
As you move into getting all your financial stuff audited, it might be a good question to make sure that you're not mixing your expenses and revenues on the
Yeah.
same lines.
Yeah, because we've always kept
You
them
have
separate
to raise it
before.
all
Yeah,
before you can spend it.
right. You have to raise and appropriate the total amount before you reduce it with the
Yeah.
revenue side.
You're right,
So
you're right.
just- Thanks.
All right, where are we?
Well, looking back at that reduction of $12,000 on the medical insurance and saying, maybe we add back 8 or 9 on that line item.
I think, Denny, what we do is we leave the 266, and we
Yeah.
let Kathy Gary figure
Okay.
out
Do you want
what
to leave
that
the 87
medical
then?
should be.
Just leave the 87 where it is? Or do you want to, on the line,
No, that would change too.
okay, what do you want to,
Actually, that whole section all the way down to document
Yeah.
filming, that whole business right there is gonna change.
yeah,
And Kathy Gary normally fills that in, once we give her what the salary is going to be,
okay, got it.
okay?
But shouldn't we, as Dennis says, shouldn't we leave in that 20% portion for somebody if they hire them, just in case? I mean, it would appear that they've taken the whole thing out here.
That's a big reduction in medical. For a
Right.
$15,000 drop in salaries, to take out 12,000 in medical is a big hit.
I'll bet you that was because of that person that she didn't fill,
Okay.
that was their medical.
Well, if that represents 20% of any kind of a plan, they're buying a lot more expensive plan than anybody else in this company. Places.
No, that
Maybe
12,000 is
The
100.
80% portion of that would be huge.
No, I may stand corrected, that may be 100% to 12,000.
Okay. Boy,
I'll
that's
have to look at the revenue.
a good plan.
Why don't we put that one on hold and get the figures from Kathy?
Yeah, yep. Volume covers and paper, she's increased that by $95. Office supplies stays the same. Postage went up 300. Book maintenance and paper dropped 1,300.
Why did that drop down to $1?
Because I think she has finished the project that she was doing.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay,
They were doing something special with the books, Dennis,
Yeah.
okay,
and she just finished the last one. She
Okay.
came in the office and said it the other day.
okay.
Customer copy expense. Customer? Huh.
Oh,
Well,
that would have to be in there if we got a copier and we gotta
Yeah.
buy toner or whatever else goes in a copying machine, that would be an expense and would be offset by the revenue that comes in from the copies.
you got her new equipment list. I don't have her. Do you have her explanation of the budget handy?
Somewhere in here. You go ahead, I'll keep looking, it's here.
It's like $5,500, almost $5,600.
Yeah,
All right, we'll come back to that one. We gotta keep moving, otherwise we won't get done. Sheriff's Department. No change in the salaries because that's contract.
does the sheriff provide, detail police for,
Detail work,
protection, yeah, for some towns in total?
Yes.
Albany, he gets reimbursed for, town
Albany.
of Albany. He gets a $14,000 or $15,000 kickback for having a deputy a certain time of the year on the Kankamargus Highway.
Oh, okay,
That comes from the feds.
okay. So, I understand.
Look at that, new equipment, what was new equipment? 97.
Well, he's down $3,500 on the Albany special detail, so it looks like he's spending less time on these details.
Where did you,
On the sheriff's department, he went from $23,520 to $20,000. Third item down on the sheriff's. I was just wondering where he's cutting back there.
That is, if I could,
yeah,
that's not only the Albany detail, that's also if they're called out to do a special detail, such as when like PSNH is doing line work, you see them sitting on the side of the highway.
Okay,
So he did say that he doesn't like to, you can't count on that except for the Albany portion, so he doesn't like to over budget. He doesn't want to make that too high and then not get any details,
okay,
so
okay.
that's why.
So if he is over budget, we're gonna have revenue to offset it if he's out in the special
Right.
detail,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah, they pay more than the
Yeah.
expense of.
Yeah,
we
okay,
have contracts with the Forest Service and with Albany,
okay,
so those are definitely coming in.
okay.
Registry of Deeds, she's got itemized here, the new equipment, 42,000.
Yeah, that's that $5,600 increase you're talking about, Dave? It went from 37 to 42.6?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, she's got a whole list of stuff here, which I guess would have to agree with, I don't know. Expanded as required to include a map plan scanner and printer, $30,000. I think if you look under revenue, it's probably covered. She's probably using that surcharge money, which would show also in the revenue, so that it's not tax money, it's going towards her new equipment.
I hate to ask a dumb question again, but she's saying she's gonna spend $30,000 for one piece of equipment?
A
It says here,
Well,
printer and a
then we've
scanner.
only got 6,000 in the budget. Again, I don't understand. Is she netting that?
No.
Or is that 42? is that a-
42.
new equipment is
42.
42, Dennis.
Oh, okay, so the 42 is the 30 plus 12,000. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Total of 42 in the budget.
Okay.
But she does have 42,881, and in her budget, she has 42,681, so
Yeah,
it's a $200 bill somewhere that's not here.
okay.
Okay.
Here's another copier, $5,000.
I can't quarrel with that, though. Copier, we didn't put copiers under the IT. That stays separate this year. But next year, we want to put that out for bid on all copiers.
Okay.
Denny, if you would take that on and to watch the bidding on anything that's over 5,000, try to follow it all the way through to make sure the advertising is done right, what needs to be bid, where the advertising is sent. And there've been new items like that one. I think part of our copiers are done through Porter Office Machine in North Conway. Hers may be a little different, I don't know.
Can I step out and make a phone call? You can keep going, and I'll
Yeah.
you can catch me up
Yeah.
on what changed.
Okay.
How about taking a recess for 5 minutes, David, and
We're gonna run out of time, we haven't
we'll
got,
been here since for 2.5 hours.
well, I know,
How you fill your tank is?
the nursing home's gonna take a lot of time.
No, I don't, you won't be here, will you?
No.
When are you leaving, tomorrow?
Tomorrow morning at, I think she's trying to get reservations out of Dover, to take the bus from Dover. Yeah, have you been in Dover on the bus?
Yeah.
Where is it? You just get off the,
You get off at the Manbury exit.
Exit 9.
exit 9?
Yeah. Oh,
And it's
the one
right,
that used to go into the restaurants there at the Rotary in Somersworth or Dover.
where the big rotary used to be? or
Yeah,
where
and now,
it was?
except you go the other way.
So when you get to the top, you take a left. You
Take a
go down
left?
about a
Yes.
mile and a half, it's on the left-hand side.
$5 a day. So they're gonna get $90 a day, the bailiff, rather than 85.
Let me just figure out what I did with the sheriff's budget.
Dues, licenses, and subscriptions is down $4,200. Computer expense, well, that's out.
Yeah.
Vehicle lease purchase, extraditions.
Wait a minute.
We took $500 out of extraditions, huh?
Yeah.
Insurance, firearm training equipment is down a little bit. New equipment is down
10,000.
10,700. Technology's taken out. I don't,
Tim?
Yeah.
Going back over here, special details, Albany. I have a note, 20,000,
yep,
no special details. I don't know why I put that in there. The court bailiffs, I'm voting against that. I don't, because of what happened over the past 5 years. They got an extra $5 that they didn't deserve. I was on the delegation, and that's not the way it went down. It was supposed to have been, when the bill was passed, it was supposed to be reduced, and it never was. And I'm opposing increasing that at $5 more. You got another note to reduce here. I guess I didn't take careful enough notes. It's either on licenses or office supplies. I don't think it was on, maybe it was on office supplies, because he hasn't come close to hitting 500. I mean, 5,000. I'd like to make that.
Office supplies, I would think you could take 1,000 out of that.
Well, they had 50,
Well, he had a
47.
He had a 47.
You easily take 500 out of it.
All right. All right, make that 4,500.
And for some reason, on the next one, up here in education and conferences.
Yeah.
5,712, less than 2,013. And at the rate we're going through 9 months, add another $2,700, you don't come up to 5,000. Close to it, but
I'm not sure if it was on that line, but there were other lines that the sheriff said all of his things hadn't been posted, that there were expenses in October that aren't reflected in this. So when you're
Okay.
comparing the actual to date, I think some of these, I don't remember if that was one of them, though.
So you want to reduce the bailiffs?
yes. Well, I don't know whether I want to reduce it, but I'm not voting for an increase.
Well, he's got $4,000 in there for the increase.
Well, then I'm voting against the increase.
Asher, how do you feel?
So what are they getting? Is
They're
it
getting 85, and they're
a
gonna
day?
get 90. The
So-
state pays a certain amount, and the county pays a certain amount. I wanna say like, is it 15?
I think the county would be paying 10 a day.
Are they getting $85 a day or $90 a day?
85, they're getting 90 with his increase. He's increasing at
Oh, with the increase would
$5.
be 90.
Yeah.
So they're
And
getting
another thing I don't like about it,
85 now?
Is what, it's
They're getting
85 now.
85 now?
Yeah.
Okay.
another thing I don't like about it, it's per diem, and yet if they work over 4 hours or something over there, then they get overtime. A per diem is, you take the short days and you take the long days. They don't. They take the long days and get paid for them. I'm not voting for an increase.
You know, the problem that he gets into is that up north at the courthouse, they get paid more than what these guys over here get paid.
Let these guys go to
Well-
work up north.
Well, that's up north then, that's at the courthouse there.
The state pays for them up there, and they
Oh, okay.
only pay a certain amount for down here. I don't know why. All right, you want to take the 4,000 out? What do you say, Asher?
Yeah, just take it out.
No opinion on that one, right?
I know a lot of them.
How many? There are only, how many are there? How many bailiffs do
Quite
we
a,
have?
I know 3 of them pretty well, so I don't want to vote.
you are abstain, okay. Well, you want to take it out?
Yeah, just take it out.
Okay, 2-1.
Down the bottom here, dues and licenses and subscriptions, I have a note, IT, question mark, and then 4,000 and 13,500, I don't know. He's increased it, that's what it is, he's increased it $4,000 over the, well, it can't be over the average.
Which line are
I'm
you on?
sorry,
Dave?
where are you?
Dues, licenses, and subscriptions.
That's down 4,000. He
Yeah,
reduced it
he
4,000.
reduced it 4,000.
He's going the right way.
Yeah,
He went from 17 to 13, Dave.
Yep.
What kind of a
much.
sheet you got there? I don't have 13,000 here.
Maybe look at the wrong line.
Oh, you don't have, you got the wrong sheets.
I got the one he gave us, because that's my
Well, that's
writing when he was
not the
here.
one you want to look at. The one you want to look at is the one she gave us this
Oh.
morning.
Kathy gave it today.
Oh, okay, so
You got the sheriff's budget?
that's,
Page 9.
037?
Yes, 037.
Yeah.
037. What am I doing wrong here? Sheriff's Department, 037. Oh, there it is. Okay, I see what I did. Oh, no, that's fine. I was looking at an old sheet that said he'd gone up that much.
Oh,
All right, his total
Mine-
budget is down 2.5%,
Yeah, that's okay.
but it's gonna be down a little more. All right, dispatch center.
My notes for the dues, licenses, and subscriptions say that he wants to leave 4,000 in that line and move 13,500 to IT.
IT, that's what it is. That's why I have
So I
the IT
don't
there.
think this is,
Doesn't look like you did that.
I don't think that happened.
He wanted to move,
He wanted to leave 4,000 in there.
where in, under dues?
Yeah, in in budget line 37, the dues and licenses. The notes say, leave 4,000 in there and have 13,500 in IT.
And that's what I've got here on my notes that I
Well,
didn't
that-
understand.
13.5.
So that 13,500 should be 4,000,
Yeah,
and then there should be
13,500 goes
13,500 in
to
IT.
IT. That's exactly what I have.
Well,
It doesn't look like it got done.
No, so, under IT, you're gonna put 13,000 in there? I thought that IT was gonna be a separate budget.
It is. Kathy said she created a separate budget for you in this packet she gave you this morning.
Okay, so it's all right,
Yeah,
I
because
don't know if- I don't
IT
know
is
if
down 27,000.
yep.
So that-
Right.
But I don't understand the 13, moving to 13,000.
I don't know.
No, you're confused. This line item is dues, licenses, and subscriptions.
Yeah?
Yeah,
And it had something to do with the licenses they pay for their special equipment that was IT and should have been moved with the IT, other IT items, to the new IT section, and it wasn't. Or it doesn't appear to have been. Where's the new, what page, anybody have the new IT page?
No.
So where did she?
Well, we got one, didn't we?
No.
Yes, we
Yeah.
did, because she read it off this morning.
I don't think so.
Yeah, we did.
We gotta keep moving,
I
guys.
don't have the IT sheet.
We gotta keep moving, but we gotta make sure we get the,
yeah, but he's got IT in here in two places, one for 5,000 and one for 27,000.
27. There's a
So
27 also.
he's got 32,000 here in IT coming out.
So
He's got 5,000 on page 9 and 27,000 on page 10.
Yes, it's true.
5,000 on page 9, yeah?
Yeah, and page 10, the last line item, 27,000.
27,000, yeah.
so that-
That is the.
But I don't understand the
That is the
13,000.
contract,
I'm
right?
trying to figure it out
I
here.
think that is why you're trying to move. You
All right.
27 is the contract, I think it's its portion.
Asha's exactly right, that 27,000 is the commissioner's, the sheriff's portion of the IT.
Contract.
Yeah. And the 5,000 is the equipment. Computer expense.
Okay,
So that came out.
okay.
But
Well,
I,
I'm really confused about, he wanted to put back in 13? Or what did you say, Melissa?
On the dues and licenses, he wanted to make that for that budget $4,000.
yeah,
And then he wanted,
He wanted to increase it, or,
no,
it just $4,000 in that line.
in place of the 13,500.
And then I had a note that said the 13,500 goes in his IT budget, which
Yes.
the commissioners decided to make a completely separate department.
And that's what I have.
for all IT expenses. So if you look on this packet that Kathy gave you this morning, she has made an information technology department.
What page did nobody seem to think? we
That's on
had?
page 19,
Okay, that's what we needed.
but I thought that you had indicated you wanted it separated by department, like under information
Yeah,
technology.
she's got that other sheet.
It's all lumped together,
She's got the other sheet that divides it up by departments.
so it's
This is the
not.
total.
Well, if that's the
Okay.
case, then he'd have 9,500 from this line item, 5,000 here and 27. He'd have three line items, right? One for 9,500. If that 13,500 is going down to 4,000,
Yeah,
Right.
right? There's $9,000 there. He's got $5,000
so it's
towards the bottom of the
14,000.
page, and then 27,000 down here. So he's moving three items in total?
Where's the second one, I'm
Yeah,
sorry?
where was the second one?
Well,
Which
if
line
you're
number?
taking 9,000 out of here,
Yep,
and you're taking 5,000 down here, and then 27 down here, all three of those are going into IT?
So,
4,
Because if that 13,500 is really going to become 4,000,
5.
you got
That's
9,500 there, plus 5 and plus 27, that's a big,
Yeah,
so what you need from the sheriff for your next meeting is
Yeah.
clarification on his IT and computer expenses?
yeah.
yeah,
Right?
yep.
Okay.
Okay. Let's look at dispatch.
That was fast, the sheriff.
New equipment is taken out, and technology is taken out, down 5.1%.
And can I just verify on the sheriff's department that you put the bailiffs back at the 2014 number?
Yeah.
The office supplies down to 4,500. He asked for 5 and you moved it to 45.
Yep,
Was there anything else?
well, put 4,000 in there where the 13,500 is.
Okay, but there was nothing else up
No.
above? Okay, thank you.
What we're not doing is we're not doing zero budgeting, but what we're basing it on is any increases over last year. But that department is down 5.1%. You want to look
Yeah,
at?
but, I pointed out again, Dave, but
Yep.
part of that 5.1 is $8,000 worth of medical insurance, which he's getting credit for cutting it, but see on the previous page, on the dispatch?
Yep, yep.
You got insurance going down $8,000, so when you look at the total number, you say, well, he cut 5.1, but
He really didn't.
he really didn't.
Yeah,
And also, the IT lines being removed from all these budgets
Yeah.
skews everything,
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
looks like
Yeah.
100% reduction, but in
It's
that
not.
line, but it didn't happen somewhere else.
okay, let's look at administration budget. We know the medical insurance, contracted fees and
You
services,
said administration budget, right?
yeah, administration building, yeah,
Okay, well, that's the one we did this morning.
We did that this morning.
yeah.
Let me
right?
get the
Do we have any
paperwork
more,
out for
do you have any
that.
problems with it?
No.
Well, wait a minute, let's get the paperwork out, yes, we do.
You do?
Okay, contracted fees and services, we've paid 6,000 already this year. When you have the unbilled portion from October, so that's all right. The generator, care grounds could be lowered. Boiler. We we definitely need some kind of a capital improvement. We got a 35-year-old generator and an 18-year-old boiler.
Yep.
Can the county set up capital reserves like towns can?
Yes.
They can. But,
If
you
the
know,
delegation approves it.
we really should start that. I mean, if you look
Absolutely.
at, if you look at the fixed assets we have just in this complex alone, and then look at the age and the life of them, I mean, we're foolhardy to think that all of a sudden you have some big item that a roof goes or something else goes. That's a big ticket item. We ought to be
Yep.
putting money away for that.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Uh,
Hopefully, people are working on that.
So how do we go about doing that? I mean, this is just crazy not to have them.
Yeah, no.
We put
That's
it,
not
we
a
put it in the
function.
budget and try to explain it to the delegation.
Okay, well, let's put one in. What are we gonna put in?
How can you put a number in without a formal plan? Like, that's where you guys seem to go like this, is because they're asking for a,
That's a good
plan.
question. It's a good question, Melissa, except
you
we
can't
don't
just
have a
pull
plan.
numbers out of the
Well-
sky.
We gotta start somewhere, and if you put $5,000 or $10,000 in against a $35,000 generator, at least you've taken some of the bump out of it. I mean, what we need to do is have a plan and find out what they cost, but we don't have that.
I think the best way to start is to take a list of the fixed assets and say, here's the generators, here's the buildings, here's what we own, here's what we have, and here's how much money it cost 15, 20, 30 years ago, and start looking at the useful life, how much it cost us. And most people are gonna say, you're gonna have to start planning for this.
Yep.
And if you give them a list and show them how old it is and what the costs are, most reasonable people say, well, let's start a kitty and start putting money away for it.
We've done that in the nursing home, Dennis.
Yeah.
We have an inventory,
Yeah.
when it was purchased, what the
Yeah.
warranty was, what the
It's a
average
5-year
life of the
plan,
life
I think.
is, but that's the only department we've done it on.
Yeah, well, I think if we get a finance person in here, we can put together a list like that
Yep.
and sell it.
Okay, we had no problems with administration building, right? Human Services Department, nothing we can do with that. It's,
Where is that, he's talking about these halon systems, where are they? Are they in the,
it's upstairs and downstairs. It's at the end of this corridor. There's a door, goes
Yeah.
into that room, and down at Registry of Deeds, everything that's in that section at the end of the building is
Okay.
under that system.
how old are those systems?
Oh,
Old as this building.
old as this building.
You know, I almost lost an employee when I was at Parker Brothers, because we had halon in our computer room, and the thing went off without the warning going off. And she was in the far end of the building, and it was, floor to ceiling, she couldn't even,
Seating it out.
she couldn't see. She could not see. We should have, at some point, somebody to come in and say, do we have a warning buzzer that goes off that gives
Yeah.
people
Yep.
10 seconds to get out of here, and so forth and so on? Because those older systems can be really, really dangerous.
Did he say he's got that coming, or that it was done? Did he budget for it? I know he talked about the Halon system.
I think that was
He-
just having it
he's-
inspected. or
he's talking
He's
about two
having it
inspections, but-
inspected
Certification.
Twice a month.
Yeah,
twice a
but
year.
I mean, do we have warning buzzers and everything else if somebody's
Should
in the
also.
room?
Should always be there, yeah.
Okay. I'm leery of those systems, because
Yeah, I
like I
guess
said.
so. All right, Human Services. Maintenance budget. Medical insurance is another one. Sand and salt was reduced.
What,
14. I'm missing 15.
15 is maintenance, sewer, and jail.
medical insurance rates accurate? Are we still waiting on insurance numbers from anyone? I mean, are these the actual premiums for next year? We have those for sure?
For the premiums, no.
Or the-
Well, or do we, didn't we get them in August, the increases? August
I
or
think we get
July?
it in July.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I don't have page 15, but go ahead. What do you got for 15?
Take that one, you.
This is very confusing, the amount of numbers that are moving back and forth on here.
On the maintenance?
No, on the bottom of page 15. The maintenance and I mean, there's nothing going on under maintenance or sewer even. But when you get down to the jailhouse, House of Corrections,
Mm-hmm.
man, this is a... Why do we have such big swings in so many line items on here?
Well, which one are we on?
Which one
Well-
are you talking about?
The bottom of page 15,
Yeah, jailhouse and corrections?
yeah,
Okay.
overtime.
Okay, let's hold on just a second because we're sharing paperwork and I've got to find. Okay, go ahead.
We got overtime up 12,000. Part-time salary up 20,000. And then administrative salary down 261,000,
He switched things around,
okay?
basically.
That
Best I
money
can tell you.
just-
He's a new superintendent, Dennis. That's
Okay.
Still, he's
He's
active.
the acting
And
superintendent.
he's made a lot of changes. This is his first budget, and he changed a lot of positions around, some to take him out of union, the union fold, and some to put in needed positions. So yes, there are a lot of changes.
But overall, he's up 60,000, but in order to do justice to this, I don't know if we have enough time, Dave, because unless you guys are comfortable with it. I mean, I'm the new guy on the block, and if you guys are comfortable with it, fine, but I've got numbers going all over here it's hard for me to follow.
We're up 1.8%,
Yeah.
$60,000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
you can
took
take
a
that.
$250,000 out of the administrative salaries and put it in the regular salaries. It was
Okay.
just a switch of that, practically the same amount of money.
Okay,
It's just how the employees were categorized.
the medical services, that's down 60? And then he put that under the doctor, is that right? If you look at 026 and 027, one's down 60 and one's up 68. Is
Right,
that just a reclassification?
right.
Okay. It looks like there's a lot of reclassifications in here because some of the numbers are
Mhm.
positive and the negatives going, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, a 1.8% increase is not large, I don't think. For that big
He's
of a
not looking for
facility.
any new people.
Yeah. That's Jason, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's still acting?
Mhm.
Or is he?
Till December. We
He's till
evaluate him
December.
supposedly in December, and
Okay.
then he gets promoted to what the previous one was getting.
Okay.
It was a two-step. We had one evaluation already with him, and we jumped his salary, and then we'll evaluate him again in December, which would be, we did that on a year basis,
Yeah.
6 months, and then
Yeah.
another 6 months.
Yep, January, December 1st.
Okay.
One thing you had asked for was a new line item to reflect mattresses and blankets instead of lumping them all under inmate clothing. Do you care about that for this year? It hasn't been done
That
yet.
wasn't done.
No.
How many inmates do we have right now, about 40?
About 53, 50 is a good fair round
Yeah.
number.
And you would also ask for, under, I think it was fees and services includes legal fees, but you had wanted a separate legal line to pull the legal expenses out of other fees.
Yeah,
What number's the other fees?
29,
29.
Oh, I'm on the wrong page.
page 16.
Because that included some auditing that was done, the Relias program, legal fee, it was a whole bunch of stuff lumped, and you
Yeah.
wanted the legal fees pulled out.
Yeah,
And which one was that?
29.
29, other fees and
29, okay,
services.
got it.
So do you care about that?
Mine says contracted fees and services, not others. Does yours say others?
Other fees and services.
How did I get this one on here?
Huh.
You're in maintenance.
Alyssa, do you know why heat is up 25,000 and building maintenance is up 20? Heat going up 25,000 is a big number. You know what that's about?
I know why the heat's up.
What?
Fuel prices are up.
The heat is up because last year, Jason, we refer to him in Jason 1 and Jason 2.
Okay.
Jason 1 had it in for about $70,000 for heat, and we made him go to
90.
90.
Okay.
And then Jason came in with a little bit more, and the way the propane's going, it had to go up some more.
It's all on propane.
Okay.
What was the other one you said?
Maintenance is up 20,000, went from $20,000 to $40,000, building maintenance, 082.
I think he indicated just lack of routine or maintenance planning, capital type planning, had resulted in overexpending his budget because a boiler went, they had to redo
Yep.
the HVAC system, some heater and tubes went. So he wanted to bring that back up to try to
Again, should
get
be
some
under a
things
plan.
done before they become
Okay,
an emergency.
okay.
I'd like to suggest, because of the time, that we look at the jail budget and the nursing home budget the next time we meet, but that we continue on with the farm, information technology.
Yeah, you're getting ready to leave, huh?
She supposedly got the bags all packed. We'll see.
So you're going on vacation?
Okay, you want to leave the jail and the nursing home till next time?
Okay.
It gives you more time to look it over if you want to.
Yeah.
You want to do the farm?
Let's do the farm. Ossipee taxes are too high. Okay, he's got 17,000 in there. God, it's up 16.5%?
Well, he's got one medical insurance for $7,000 that represents a good portion of the increase.
Yeah, you take that 7 out, now you're at 14,000.
And that 17,000 is to purchase wood,
Yeah.
log length wood to be turned into firewood.
That's with.
Are we still trying to catch up?
Huh?
Do you have your keys to your office?
I've got them out in my truck. Yeah,
We're gonna lock up.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the 17,000 for the wood and the $7,000 for medical, that's a whole difference
That's
right
where
there.
it is.
And the 17 comes back in the camp wood we sell.
That's revenue,
Okay.
quite a bit
Actually
more.
comes back like 40,000.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah,
Is that all, is that camp wood, just softwoods that were, Or is it hardwood?
No, it's hardwood.
All
Hardwood?
Yeah.
Oh, it is?
It goes to all the state campgrounds.
Oh.
He has an unwritten contract with them,
Okay.
15,000 bags, onion bags, the inmates do during the wintertime.
Oh,
So
beautiful.
it's a pretty good income.
Nice.
So he's really not, his budget's really down.
Yep.
That's because the employee out there that just took the health insurance program that didn't have it before.
Yeah.
Another reason to get that health insurance
You're
out
absolutely
there.
right.
On a
and
different
makes it
line.
so much easier because that has a big impact on these small budgets. It really moves them.
Self-insurance?
No, to take the health insurance out of
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Put it
yeah.
all in
Yeah,
one
yeah,
pile.
analysis and put it in one.
yeah, yeah.
Another
Yep.
line item.
Another thing to think about, Dennis, is we have had an incredible amount of medical expenses this year. In 1 week alone, I signed checks for, I think it was about $33,000
For inmates?
for inmates.
You mean for the jail, right?
And one of the thoughts we had, other House of Corrections, put it in a lump sum under the commissioners, and it can only be used if the bill is over $5,000. And so you can't siphon off the money. But the kid comes up with a budget, and then it all goes to hell in a handbasket because you get
One inmate,
one
or two
inmate.
inmates. We had one in there, 2,000 a month for AIDS. We had one in there that was pregnant, but we got her out.
The one that cost us all this money was the one that was pregnant, and she was brought back and she broke parole for 3 days or something. And she got sick while she was here, and we have to pay the bill.
Yeah. Okay, so the big item there is 17,000 for wood.
And of course, the question will come up from somebody. We said that 2 years ago that we'd be using our own wood,
Yep,
and now why are we buying wood?
yep.
That's an easy one. We've used up what we took out the first time, and we got another cut coming.
We have another cut coming, this coming fall.
Yeah, she's working on it now. No, I don't think it's this fall, I think it's this winter.
This winter, what we do is have cooperative extension, the county forester marks the timber, and then we put it out for bid. She handles the whole system. She comes back, gets our permission to accept the bids. And then some of it is left at the landing or brought back here for firewood. Other logs goes out, and we get an income from that. And we have a county forester back a number of years ago, made a plan for all our 800 acres to do sections at a time, each year or every other year, to do a logging operation. So it brings in some income.
Our homeowners association, we have 150 acres. We did the same thing, went up to the Conway and had, got a grant to come down and put the plan together. And then
Yep.
current use tax goes down to the lowest level. We have a managed forest plot, it's advantageous. Then we have a forester comes in and marks the trees to harvest. And
Yep.
it works
Yep.
out very well that way.
The trouble is, Will has done such a good job with the campwood that we've used up more than we anticipated that we'd use.
Not growing back fast enough.
Not growing back fast enough, exactly.
Oh, it was harvested, wasn't, we didn't have enough harvested.
Well, no, that was the other problem. We cut down some wood that they said would be firewood, and we cut it down, it was good saw logs, and we got more money for it, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
we increased our revenue, but,
Do we have to pay a timber tax as a county?
yes.
We do.
Yes.
normally we get that into the bid, so we don't have to pay anything, the logger pays it. All right, UNH Cooperative Extension is up,
What page, David?
page 19.
19. Yep.
We're gonna have to look at the information technology as to where she put the money. You know what the reason for the increase is?
For what?
Cooperative Extension. David sits on the Cooperative Extension Advisory Board, and his one representative also sits on that board, Tom Bucco.
Okay.
So do you know why that's up? Is it salaries, is it supplies?
Well, I can tell you supplies. With the new system, travel's taken care of by the university. Most of pay is taken care of the university. To answer your question honestly, I can't remember.
Okay, we've got their information
But
downstairs.
it's downstairs, I know
Yeah.
that.
And we've got all of the regional appropriations money, itemized lines as to where their money is being spent. Okay, if we look at interest expense,
Wow. Why is the TAN interest expense so much?
what are you saying?
The tax anticipation notes, why is that interest expense so much money? That's
Where is
just-
that? Where are you
it-
looking?
100,000?
Yeah,
Where?
I know.
Oh, I see,
Page
tax
19.
anticipation, okay.
Yeah.
I was-
The treasurer has changed the way we borrow. So he has a line of credit, so only borrow when we need it.
So we pay $100,000 to borrow money?
Yep.
What? But
When you
this,
borrow-
We borrow 16 million.
16 million, yeah.
But
14 or
this-
16,
as of September 30th, we'd only spent 9,000.
I know, I
So what does
saw
this
that too.
mean? And then in 2013, we only spent 58,000. So why, I don't know, that just
David, would you check on that with Kathy?
seems like.
Yep.
So tell me about the cash flow. You said we're borrowing 16,000. When does it-
16 million,
I
Million.
mean, 16 million. When do we get paid by the towns? How does that work?
17th of December?
17th of December.
17, 15, 17, 18, whatever that
One
is.
payment for the whole year?
Mhm.
Yeah,
What, and,
yeah,
did you say from the towns?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes,
So one payment for the entire year.
yep.
So the 16 million, that's the cash flow that we're borrowing until we get the revenue back from the towns?
Yes,
Right,
14 million actually,
14. yeah.
probably be 16 million this year.
And what bank are we using for that, you know?
I think it's TD North, I could be wrong.
Is it?
Check with Kathy,
Or is it
she's got the
Laconia?
list.
Might be Laconia Saving. It's one of the two.
I don't know.
So you're saying it's a line of credit now, instead of borrowing it all at one lump?
Right,
Borrow it as you
Just
need
borrow it
it.
as you need it?
yeah.
So is that another case for the county being on a fiscal year? So that the money would come in from the towns midway through your year instead of at the end? Right?
Probably.
Yeah.
I'd have to think about it.
Yeah.
I'm getting brain dead here.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, it can wait, okay.
so we spent that 14 million before we had, I'd have to sit down, like you see, my brain's getting,
Yeah, before we get the taxes in, we're spending that money.
That's our cash flow for the year.
And that's supposed to take us through next March. Or the 1st of April. Okay,
I think you need to sit down with Jack Widmer,
the treasurer.
I
Treasurer of the
got
two.
a call into him.
the financial brains, and let them, you two guys work it out.
I called him, he was out to lunch someplace, and he called me back, and we're gonna meet sometime between now and the first of the year
Yeah,
for lunch and review this. I also had a call into Tom, the new attorney, and I'm gonna meet him sometime too,
okay.
get to know him.
This is the last year of the jail bond.
well, the bond interest
No,
went down
last year.
47,000.
Last year, the water system.
Looking at, excuse me, the last year of the water system, that's right, I'm sorry. The wastewater system.
Yep.
Well, what's that new number gonna be once that bond is paid off? Is this entire, yeah, I'm looking at 688,000, how much of that goes away when we pay off?
688,000. Oh, up there, that's the,
nursing home.
that's the nursing home.
That whole thing is a nursing home?
Yep,
And that bond is for how long?
2030.
Till 2030. It says right next, it says MBNH bond 2030, that 2030 shows.
Oh, I see it over there, okay,
Mountain View Nursing Home.
okay.
And then,
Sewer system is paid off. The water system.
the wastewater system was paid off this year.
So when we look at the nursing home, if somebody says they're operating at a break even, are we including the interest income we're picking up?
We're not
Interest expense
breaking
we're
even.
picking
We're not.
up, or is that excluded from?
You
the
automatically say, no, we're not breaking even.
We're not breaking even.
But if we
We're
were,
getting close to it.
if we were breaking even, do we pick up that 6088 on the interest expense, or do we just swallow that?
No.
Does he include that when he's talking about a break even at the nursing home?
I believe so,
He does.
I believe so.
And those bond payments, aren't they actually moving to the supposed to move to the nursing home budget
Yeah,
Oh, they are.
out of this? So
Yeah.
that's another change, right?
Because it's an enterprise fund, the accountant said it should be
Yeah,
coming out of the nursing home, not being sent over by us to.
yeah.
so we got an extra 139,000 because of the water system long-term debt being paid off. That helps. We're gonna have regional appropriation, people come in. Capital reserves, we have none.
Do we have a capital reserve set up for that water system to replace
No,
pumps?
Nope.
No,
No.
nothing?
no, nothing here on, no planning's been done for the last 20 years. Nothing, zero.
That's how the way they were running it.
That little town of Wakefield, we've got like 20 capital reserves. We have everything planned out forever. You know, so every time we need something, we pay cash for it. I mean, I just
Yeah.
can't believe the county hasn't
The
been able to get
people
that.
that are on the board that are selectmen, their towns have capital
Sure
reserves.
they do.
But why they don't vote for it here, beyond me.
And some towns like Tamworth had many funds, and they voted to abolish all of them and put all of that money back into the general fund, and now they're in the practice of borrowing because the interest rates are so low that when they need to do something, that's how they're funding it, but they have a plan. You know, the plan doesn't say this is how much you're gonna raise in taxes, it just gives you an,
Yeah.
then you get creative with how you're gonna pay for it. But,
I'd rather make the interest income, be it small, and have the money put away in
yeah, I don't know,
a bucket.
I don't know how they're doing it.
Secretary, Carroll County Convention? You down there yet?
So which
Yeah.
Page 20?
20.
Yeah.
Secretary expense, $2,000. Office supplies, $500. Their budget is down 39%. Oh, the performance audit's taken out. You know, they didn't get charged, their performance audit, that cost $27,000.
Mhm.
And where does that show up?
It's here. So 27,000
The 20,000 was carried over from 2013. That's at 20,000.
Yeah. And then they
And then they
spent,
budgeted 7,000 for
The
14.
27.
That makes 27.
but they only spent 6 of it, of that 7. Right?
Yep.
If I'm reading that right. So did the delegation put in this, give these budget numbers to Kathy, or did she just bring over the numbers from last year?
What do you mean, on travel and stuff?
Yeah, all the, this is
Well,
the-
they get a sheet anytime they sign in. Kathy Armstrong's got the sheet in the computer, and it just multiplies out what the check is, and they get their check.
oh,
Times whatever the federal,
I meant, I guess, did the chairman submit a budget for 2015, or did Kathy just carry over the numbers from 14 because it's level?
She probably checks with Umberger to find out what she wants for a budget.
I guess she doesn't.
You don't think she does?
No, I could be wrong, but I don't think that happens.
So,
I think that the head of the delegation ought to be as responsible as anybody else here and put a budget in. She shouldn't be accepted, she shouldn't be exempt from doing it. Everybody else has to do it.
so when I'm doing these million other notes, do you want me to send one to Representative Umberger and tell her that you need, or just leave it alone? Okay.
No.
All right.
Maybe in the future.
You don't want to put their expenses in the budget?
No, I'm saying that Kathy shouldn't be just going downstairs and punching in old numbers, that Karen Umberger ought to be, how many meetings is she gonna have? You know, meetings to come down here aren't cheap. They're very expensive, in fact.
And maybe she told her to level fund it, I don't know. I was
I
just
don't know
asking
either.
if you knew.
I have no
Okay.
idea.
Okay.
But level funding, what good is that if, well,
I think they can change their budget if they want to.
Okay.
All right, the farm. Capital expenditures, we spent $8,000? No, we budgeted 8,000.
now, where are you, David? The farm?
Farm, yeah, under
What
capital
page?
expenditures,
21.
page 21. We had 8,000 in there, we spent 73.55.
Wait a minute.
Has he done anything with the concrete, do you know?
Yeah, gone out for bid, I think, but put it out for bid, but that's it.
Would you check on that?
Yep. Where's the farm you're looking at here? Oh, yeah, right there. That is that's the
That's-
last payment on the saw,
On the wood
the
processor.
wood processor, which we could pay off right now if it were to our advantage.
That's right.
David, how come we have information technology in this line of budget and we don't have it in the rest of them?
It's a good question.
That's the human resources software, that new one-time thing. For some reason Kathy said she put it in there.
Yeah, that's the one we're gonna take out.
So we
Take-
can just look up.
Take that out for this time.
Right?
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
the way I understood it.
Wait for 2015. 2016.
2016.
Okay. Annex,
I think that's an interesting one. The electrical expense isn't for the old nursing home. It's to drive the
For the-
laundry and
for the
the
laundry.
pellet burner.
So that should be really in the nursing home
Yes.
budget. Well, they did, well,
Well, not all of it, right?
no, not all of it.
You have lights in there.
Yeah, but that's a small portion of it.
There's lights and there's electricity that runs the pellet furnace.
Yeah, but that should be under the new nursing home. Shouldn't it?
Yeah. $11,000 for fuel.
That's because of the dryers and the laundry there
On propane.
on propane,
Yep.
and that's for the old nursing home.
Yep.
That's strictly for the old nursing home. I mean, for the new nursing
The new
home.
one. Does that building,
The
is it
only
heated
thing
by the
that,
pellet boiler? The
What?
building heated by the pellet, the annex?
yeah,
Yes.
And then when
But the
that
hot
gets
water
low
is
and the
not.
propane kicks on, or how does that?
The
Is it like the new nursing home that has backup if the pellet system's down? Right?
We were told that the old nursing home is heated by the pellet.
pellets,
Okay.
With the exception of
laundry,
the hot water in the laundry.
in the laundry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Bob was going to get us a estimate of what it would cost. And it's a tremendous
A
cost.
lot of money to change over at the price of,
To run a pipe from the pellet furnaces to the hot water in the laundry, across the corridor,
$35,000.
$35,000.
That makes sense.
Are we gonna move these two line items to the nursing home? That's 7.5 and 11, or leave them where they are?
I don't think we can move it all. And I'm wondering if this is just a paper shuffle.
Mm.
So much assigned to the old annex.
You mean we get a total bill and we just apportion it?
Yeah,
I don't know. I think we ought to ask that question.
maintenance and repair would have to stay there, but I bet you a good part of that 11,000 could come out. All right. All right, next time we gotta look at the nursing home, look at the jail. What else?
See that memo that I gave you?
Which one?
That memo right there? Yeah, can I see that for a second? So I can read the one and the questions.
I would suggest when I give this to Kathy that she gives it back to the departments where the changes were made. And if they've got a problem with it, that they come in next time we meet.
Yep.
So you're gonna give her that? I've been keeping a list of
You-
everything,
Okay,
so,
you give it to her,
okay,
I'll give her this, make sure we got it covered, okay?
yeah, right.
Okay, I put your phone number. Did you say I don't wanna say you're not home all the time, but you go off, is there any particular day that you are home? Maybe you don't wanna tell me on the camera in case somebody is watching, but,
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good
That's-
idea. No,
that's
don't say anything.
weird.
yeah, don't say it. Ed, you got any public input? All right.
Was somebody gonna check out where the cost savings are that we were supposed to get from Spyglass?
I
Because all
called
the
him up.
telephone bills went up.
I called him up and I haven't heard back from him, but I will call him again. Dennis, this is something you might want to look at. There's a plan from a nursing home.
Budget binder.
Why don't you, while I'm gone, why don't you consider selling the complex? So we can get out of this business.
Somebody asked me that at one of the candidates nights, why we don't sell all the land.
Oh, no. Somebody said, yeah, we ought to put our land into housing and into low-income housing, and, you know, Comeau did that. They sold off a lot of their land, and they didn't log it before they sold it off, so the guy who bought it logged it and paid for it, got it for nothing.
Good for him.
Crazy. And one of the commissioners up there decided to run because of that taking place. The others had no idea what was going on, I guess. All right,
Next meeting a week from this Friday, is that right?
Yes.
So next week there is no meeting?
No,
Friday.
a week from Friday, that would be next week.
And then are you meeting the day before Thanksgiving? Do you normally meet
So
on
we
that
meet-
Wednesday?
The 21st?
Sorry.
I can't.
Yes, we are meeting the 21st.
21st.
I
And
can't meet the day before Thanksgiving. Well, I can. My
Okay.
son's coming home, I guess I can.
Where's Thanksgiving?
And
Thursday.
the 21st, what's the time? Same time, 8:30?
Yep.
Oh, that's right. Thanksgiving's
I'd like
late
to-
this year.
I'd like to quickly go into non-public to talk about, just very quickly, it's not gonna take long, about where we stand with the union contracts,
Okay.
so that you can think about it. So I will move, no, you can stay. You two can stay.
For non-public?
There you go.
I'm not sworn in.
He
yet.
cannot stay
You're
for
not sworn in,
non-public.
okay.
I'm probably
It's all right.
later.
You can invite anybody in you want, but
You can, no,
Yeah.
sure, this is you.
there's no rules.
You're better off getting out, Denny, then you can't be blamed.
Thank you for coming today.
Thank you.
Pleasure to meet you.
Yep,
Pleasure to meet you.
you're gonna take care of that.
Do you have?
All right,
So, I just want to go quick over the meetings, what we're changing here. So, the meeting from the 19th goes to the 21st, right?
Yes.
And then the following week is the 26th.
The day before Thanksgiving, are you meeting that day?
the 26th we're
The
meeting.
26th is
Okay.
after Thanksgiving.
No,
You said-
the Thanksgiving's on the 27th, right?
Oh, it fell now,
Yeah, it's
27th?
very late this
Yeah,
year.
Oh,
it's the
gee.
27th.
Very late.
Okay, so we're
Yes, our budget's
meeting,
gotta be finished on the 26th.
so we're
Okay.
coming the 26th, right?
Yeah. I'm coming Monday the 24th with the jail union, and hopefully, everybody's gonna be able to vote. If they don't, it's gonna be too late, because our final budget's gonna be the 26th. So we may be voting on union contracts on the 26th,
Okay.
Ooh,
okay?
so then,
At this time, I would move that we go into non-public for, where's that?
union
Use
negotiations?
From under RSA 91A32A, dismissal, promotion, or compensation.
I think you have the wrong one. You need to have, there must be something
It's
going
under
into.
compensation, I think. Do I hear a second?
Is there
Second.
one- Isn't there one
Roll
that
call.
talks about collective bargaining agreements?
I don't think there's one in there.
Sorry,
I think there is, there was. Thought.
long day.
No.
No?
Compensation, I think, would be the one.
Okay. So Sorensen, you made that motion.
I made the
Babson,
motion.
you second.
Second,
Yes,
roll
I
call.
did. Roll call?
Commissioner Kenney?
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes,
Commissioner Babson?
Yes.
then so voted.